I know people have been waiting. The streets is hungry. What's up, everybody? We got everybody in the room. Happy Wednesday. Coop, how you doing today, sir?
Uh, Fatigued, vexed, slightly perplexed.
Somebody said our notifications for 5 o'clock came at 4:30. No, we really set the show at 4:30.
No, we really set the show at 4:30.
We really set the show at 4:30. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, the Grammy nominations came in. Publications are refusing to actually review KD-3 as we kind of predicted. There's been a whole relevance conversation as it pertains to 21 Savage proclaiming that Nas isn't relevant, and obviously he got dragged and trashed on social media as he should, and we're gonna dig deep into that as well. It's a lot to talk about, and I have a little rant that I want to go on as well. But that's going to be in the show.
Don't say rant, Mike. Let's speak with eloquence. Let's say a soliloquy, poignant diatribe. For what you want to speak of, to call it a rant is actually like take it beneath what I think it's worth about what you have to say.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's going to come across as such, but it's definitely not. It's just like everything that we do. It's for the betterment of hip hop culture. It's nothing self-serving in that sense. It's all about, the betterment of what needs to be out there. I mean, people kept sending us a whole lot of videos, the Hot 97 video, for starters. Let me get some of these super chats before I get into that, though. 007, shout out to you, sir. Talking to him offline, he said, "Peace, Kings." We got Marquez Davis with the $20 super chat off the top. Good looking. Said, "Peace." KD-3 is ranked as 93 on Metacritic. Let's see if it holds. Currently ranked as the 8th best album ahead, including To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Stankonia, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Mad Villainy. Do you think KD-3 is better than any of those albums? Huh.
Yes, except for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Huh. Okay. I definitely don't think it's better than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Just like that. It's better than the rest of those, though, in my opinion.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Even a conversation is To Pimp a Butterfly.
The replayability of To Pimp a Butterfly is not high.
It's very problematic,
in my opinion. And I was super high on the album. Still am. But honestly, the replay value of Damn, I think, is a little bit more competitive. I think Damn, honestly, you can make a better argument for Damn than you could To Pimp a Butterfly, just from a playability standpoint.
Well, song for song is going to stand next to KD-3 better in terms of that replay value. I get what you're saying, because some of that stuff on To Pimp a Butterfly, although lyrically intrinsic and culture-wise very valuable and poignant as well, shit don't slap like 30.
Nah, I mean, that's my thing, man.
WTF-SMH, like it just don't.
I'm the person that when I heard To Pimp a Butterfly, before I went on social media and heard anything anybody was saying about it, I said it's the best rap album I heard since Supreme Clientele. So I'm very high on To Pimp a Butterfly, but nobody around me really felt the same way. And I think that that's a big part of what makes an album great, is just the fact that everybody's on one accord playing the same shit and excited about the same shit. We experienced that when we were doing our Station Head broadcast. And shout out to all of y'all that came to that as well, because, man, we done ranked in the top 10 on Station Head, man. Look at us.
Yeah, but we appreciate the love, too.
Yeah, appreciate the love. So, I mean, when we were playing those records, you could feel the energy in the room, and everybody that was in the room listening to those records as we were. And, everybody had their favorite songs. And even when we had 007 on after we listened to the album initially, everybody wanted to hear different songs over and over. Now, I don't know if we would have gotten that same type of listening experience listening to Pimp a Butterfly, for the first time, or even just when people go revisit it. So it's a very difficult album to match up with anything, even his own catalog. Because I remember when he was sitting down with Big Boy out there in LA and he was ranking his albums, this was after Damn, he ranked To Pimp a Butterfly like third or fourth. And me as a fan, I was disappointed. I was like, man, that's your best album. But maybe it wasn't slapping like that to people even around him.
I told you it wasn't his best album. Like Good Kid, Mad City is his best album. I do think To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, I enjoy Damn more. It's just so hard to put Damn ahead of To Pimp a Butterfly because it's like How Much a Dollar Cost is on there. Mortal Man is on there. Hood Politics is on there. Mama Said, right?
Listen,
that's some very important stuff in terms of the writing canon of hip hop. You get what I'm saying?
How well do you think the Damn has aged? How about that? Do you think that's the thing? To Pimp a Butterfly is actually just aged better than Damn?
Well, you know what? I think Damn was more of an album that was kind of like made. It's his moment album of the albums. Like most of the other albums appear to be culture pieces, and Damn appears to be that moment album, or appears to be the album where he's like, no, I can just like make hit dope records that you like to listen to for this time.
KD with the super chat. KD, look at you. Says, that Kendrick nomination is hilarious. Dude dropped 2 discs of mid. One was a weed plate. The other was a frisbee. Crazy how Magic wasn't even nominated. We're going to talk about all of that too. And, and I'm going to do a disclaimer before we talk about those things, because I know a lot of people feel like this is about, a pat on the head or a pat on the back or anything like that. No, it's not what it is. My thing is, if you step into the hip-hop arenas, you need to get it all the way correct or just leave it alone. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, had KD-3 on repeat since the listening party. Still, fellas. What an amazing album and such a well-rounded body of work by Nas. Album of the year, no question. Dialon with the super chat says, Cooper, you going to respond to Sincere from Rap Roundtable? Lord have mercy.
What?
I respect your super chat, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, I was about to say, I'm not even privy to exactly what it is that I need to respond to. I mean, Mike, you know this. I've been super, super busy lately doing a few things. I was with my cousin Six at his house on Monday till about 1 a.m. And then I was with a local artist that we're about to throw up on here soon, Loose Screw, to about 4 a.m. Then I went to work and worked 10 straight hours. Then I came home and got ready for the show till I passed out. Then I, got my kid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I've been on the go. Whatever Sincere from Rap Roundtable had to say, you know what I mean? That's for their show and this is ours, I guess.
Yeah, shout out to them. Job hollered at me the other day, man. I was like, man,
peace and blessings.
Like, great work, man, because they got tweeted out by Hit Boy as well.
Congratulations to them for that as well. It's a good look for them as well. Looks like it was a good look for us.
Yeah, he said the same thing to us. So there was actually an artist too, Sorcery.z. We actually put it in our community section. He did a few different tributes to Nas, and it's cool seeing people doing these tributes. And I saw another one that was online where they were basically talking about 21 Savage and what he had to say and kind of just debunking that. So there's a lot of artists out there giving respect to Nas. So, you can check this one out. It's actually in our community section. We got links everywhere on that. Shiesta30 with the super chat says, KD-3 is an instant classic, 5 mics. I want to talk about that conversation, too, that Hot 97 had about KD-3 being a top 5 Nas album.
I believe we had that conversation first, but yeah.
We probably did. I mean, they didn't really...
No, we did. We had it on Friday.
Yeah.
I remember. Like, I very vividly remember
really did.
Like here on Friday.
We actually did. We do so much stuff I forget. But, yeah, their conversation really wasn't a great one. And I say that respectfully. I mean, you had Laura Stiles saying that, Rewind was on Street's Disciple. And, I get it. People mess up on live radio or whatever. But nobody corrected her. Rosenberg or Ebro or I forgot my other man's name, man, but none of them corrected her. She sat there and said Rewind was on Street's Disciple.
Styles.
No, I'm talking about the other black guy that's on there.
Yeah, isn't that Styles?
Yeah, no, it's Laura Styles. Somebody in the
Lauren
chat probably
Styles?
knows. It's Laura Styles, Ebro, Rosenberg, and it's a brother on there too. Like he works the boards. I think he does the programming on it. But nobody
Mm-hmm.
corrected her, and it's probably a mistake on her end. But she said the Street Disciple was one of her favorite Nas albums, and she thought Rewind was on there. So I mean, I don't know.
I'm not
Godson
gonna.
was another one that they mentioned in their top five as well.
I'm not gonna totally. First of all, I'm not gonna totally knock her
No, no,
for the
definitely.
streets. No. I mean, for the Streets Disciple comment, I'm gonna tell you something in full candor. I've heard a lot of women in the music industry who are either artists, singers, musicians, or involved in the industry, specifically from the female perspective, that tell me that they really love Streets Disciple, and they bought up some of the songs. She bought up some of the songs that my female compatriots that I've dealt with over the years musically have submitted to me about why they do. They go for Rest of My Life and Just a Moment and Sekou Story. Those melodies, those riffs. It's more musical to them. It's more groovy. It is more in tune maybe with the women hip hop listener than maybe it was for the male hip hop listener. Is what I think that album would show. Of course, not realizing that Rewind is on Stillmatic, while you're saying that you're not sure how Stillmatic ranks in the catalog, is a little problematic. It's like, well, if you're not sure Rewind it's on Stillmatic, that could be some of the problem with where you have Stillmatic ranked.
Exactly.
Feel me?
You and I just did a Patreon, and shout out to everybody who joined us for the Patreon. And we were going down. Well, actually, we had two things on the table, right? We were either going to do the Pete Rock and Eric Sermon song for song, or we were going to do KD and KD-3, excuse me, and Stillmatic. We let the people vote. You there? You there? Did I go out for a second?
Yeah, he just went out for a second. It's
Okay.
all good though.
Let me rewind then. So on the Patreon, we had two things on the table, right? We had Pete Rock versus Eric Sermon song for song matchup, or we had KD-3 and Stillmatic song for song. We put it on the people and was like, look, which one do y'all want us to do? Because we figured that people might be KD-3'd out, but they weren't. They wanted us to do KD-3 versus Stillmatic, right? So we did that.
We did.
And numerically, and I think I need to put this in here too. We had to take away the bonus song from KD-3, make it 16 songs, and we had to add on No Ideas Original to Stillmatic to make it an even 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
Numerically, Stillmatic won, from what I remember, but it wasn't by a lot. But what I noticed,
it was like 9-7, wasn't it?
it was something very close. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because remember it came down to the last song. We were like, yeah, it was like it could have ended up being tied. Like it was like 9-7. Yeah.
But what I noticed, there are a lot of weak points in Stillmatic, but there aren't any weak points in KD-3. So for me, I mean, I'm not gonna knock anybody who thinks otherwise. I'm putting KD-3 in that third spot, and I'm moving Stillmatic to that fourth spot. So I think that his top five looks like this: Illmatic, It Was Written, KD-3, Stillmatic, and Magic. What do you think? Let me get to these super chats.
No. I'm really sincerely thinking about it. I think that is a sincere list.
The only question at 5 for me is either Lost Tapes or Magic.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, as much as I love Magic, I don't know. There's something about when Do-Rags comes on, Mike.
And yeah, Blazer 50 and No Ideas Original is actually on there.
You gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Yeah, I don't know.
Myself.
Yeah.
Papa Was a Player.
That might be the next one we have to do, right?
Purple.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me rethink that one. Yeah, let me rethink.
Black Zombie. That's what I'm saying. So, like, for me, the KD-3 is, this is a 4-album run in a 2-year span. KD-3 is the best of the 4.
Yeah.
To me. And so I think that is more solidified after listening to it further. So I think it is a Magic Lost Tapes conversation about which one cracks the top 5, because I think Illmatic and It Was Written as a given. I think listening to KD-3 is just hard to ignore.
I think the
I'm just
degree
going
of
to go back and hit.
the degree of difficulty of Magic is super high. You know.
Well, the degree difficulty of KD3 is super high,
Of
Mike,
course,
because this is what I'm saying. Like, go look at all those other albums, Mike. They're all produced by a multitude of people.
Yeah.
And it's not just some people, Mike. It's some of the best people who ever made beats in the history of hip hop that are on those albums. Like, if you just go to Illmatic specifically, Mike, you understand that 4 of the 20 greatest producers in the history of hip hop are on that one album. The album's only 9 fucking songs.
Well, I mean, you got LES in the top. Never mind. But I feel
Mike, there are 5 producers. I said 4 in the top
20.
20.
Okay, I got you.
That would be Large Professor, DJ Premier, Q-Tip, and Pete Rock. Those are 4 of our 20 best producers in the history of hip hop, correct?
3 are top 10. Yeah, 3 are top 10.
We need to have that conversation. That's why I wanted to talk about Hit Boy again, because it's like, well, I just got done thinking through Pete Rock's catalog, and I'm like, no. Pete Rock ain't made 4 straight albums like this.
Oh my goodness. Let me get to these super chats. They piled it up real
quick.
quick.
I'm just telling you what I've seen. I'm not saying that now Hit Boy hasn't made They Reminisce Over You or The World Is Yours either, but I'm just saying, like, that's what I mean about when I said it's conversational. Even if he's not cracking your top 10, the fact that I can say something like that to you.
Well, Hit Boy got some big records. He got some big records.
KD3 production wise is better than it was written.
Yeah, it is.
It was written, has Havoc, has Premier, has Trackmasters. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Has Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre's on there too.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So when you have an album that has Dr. Dre production, Havoc production, DJ Premier production, Trackmasters production, and this one guy, when the MC is almost 50, produces the album better. Oh, talking about degree of difficulty being higher, degree of difficulty changing shit.
Let me get to these super chats. I'm gonna go on a big run because I don't want to get too far behind. Godfather with the super chat says,
just go ahead and run it.
Yeah, it said Godfather says, Yo Nas is better give y'all some free tickets. Says Yo Nas, better give you some free tickets. I guess he said we should get some free tickets. I mean, we don't need to get any. I mean, make great albums, great music. We're gonna talk about it. Billy Bars with the super chat says, Hit Boy spoiled us with the beats. I can't listen to a mediocre instrumental anymore. And Nas didn't just skate on KD3. He was floating on that shit. Yeah, he was. It's one of the big observations from some of the few reviews that I've read. Complex, and I'm going to get to this in a second. Complex's review is very interesting because they criticize Nas's lack of flow on there. I'll read it in a second.
That's 30 because they don't know what they're talking about, though, Mike. But that's okay.
Shiesta 30 with the super chat says, "Did y'all see the Trevor Noah interview with Nas? How Nas said when I dropped the track list on KD3, he put the picture with all his Grammys. The shade. LOL. Yeah, I did see that. You saw the interview? I thought it was. I did, interview.
But you want to know what I like about it? He didn't acknowledge Guru at all. It's like, no, he's like, Jay posted the picture.
I mean, Guru.
Let's keep it above. There's levels to this. You don't get acknowledgments. You know what you're going to get if you would have did that? Be like, if they would have been like Young Guru, he'd been like, who's Young Guru? He's like, Jay posted that.
Let's be 100% honest. On a social media aspect, Jay-Z is Young Guru. Young Guru is Jay-Z. If he's posting it, it's pretty much coming from Jay. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Guys got a lot more people are giving Nas credit this time. Thank you for spearing this head on. Excuse me. No problem, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We just got to keep it real out here. We're going to keep it real today, too, because there's a whole lot to really get into. Andrell Green says, do you guys think that when we look back on this 4-album run, that it will be hard to separate in individual albums? In my opinion, the whole run has been classic. This will be looked at as the Hit Boy era. For Nas, right? I could see that. What say you, Coop?
I told you. I mean, for me, you can look at it on that level too, and I understand what he's saying. You could make a whole box set. I told you, if they don't do anything else, he has the greatest hits for this decade.
Yep.
Right here in these 4 albums.
I think
so I could see box setting this You know, like totally. Like, I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite things as a music head. When I used to work at Manifest Disc and Tapes when I was in high school, there was this Marvin Gaye box set, Mike, and it literally had his top songs from the time he stepped to the mic to the time he left, but it had it sectioned off by years of his musical transitions. I don't know where to find that thing at anymore. This was one of the cool things about working at like an old boutique record store like that. That shit like that was floating around. And Nas, I told you, Nas is the first artist where I could honestly say, oh, no. I could see you doing that. It's like you could take the guy from like 91 to 99, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And box set him.
Yeah.
You could take the guy from like 2000, 2009, box set him. 2010, 2019, box set him. And if he stops right now, he's got another box set. So that's how I kind of look at it in that way. So not differently, just kind of maybe an expansion of the thought.
That's dope. 007 with the super chat says 21 Savage and younger generation artists continue to do things to drive a divide amongst the generations. Why? This arena is way too big. 21 Sounds should be congratulating and not having that approach. You know, we're going to get into the 21 thing, but this is what I will say. Nas is about to do Madison Square Garden. Nas just did a 25 city tour, all sold out. I'm pretty sure Madison Square Garden is going to be sold out as well. 21 Savage can't sell out State Farm Arena. So what are we talking about when we're talking about quote-unquote relevance?
Do you want to go to the super chats before we get off into that?
Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat. I just felt like saying that, and I'm gonna get back.
I mean, I feel you. I mean, I just don't want, you know what I'm saying? Let's
I don't want to get lost in translation. Yeah. CJ Kid says, which album utilizes soul samples the best? The Blueprint, Supreme Clientele, or KD-3? I'm gonna give it to the Blueprint on that.
Hold on, what? What did he say? Blueprint or what?
Supreme Clientele or KD-3 utilizes soul samples the best.
I mean, you know, I like those plain sight killings, Mike. And so when that Eddie Kane shit come on, I'm just like, oh, I've been sitting there.
That's one of the most creative, soul samples I've heard in a minute.
But I mean, Mike, what's it's that stroke of it's a stroke of genius, because sometimes the genius is what's right in front of you. It's like, well, we all know that moment. We all know that scene. We all know that movie in this culture so well.
No one ever touched it.
Nobody. It's plain sight. It's right there. It's like, oh man, it's right there in front of you.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, Rosenberg's energy when they were talking looked like when your parents are making you begrudgingly apologize to your sibling. I did notice that in that Hot 97 segment. They didn't really seem too energetic or excited or even educated on Nas's catalog enough to really be having the discussion. I mean, maybe they got it from, the discussion that we were having. I don't know if we got some people who are interns over there who are possibly in the chat that pass on different content ideas to the show. But yeah, I mean, it's like they attempted to have a top 5 Nas album conversation and they just fell flat and ended up talking about something else without actually really getting anywhere with it. Antonio with the super chat says, I've been playing KD-3 in heavy rotation since it's been released. I have it in my top 3 Nas albums now. The media has also been rating it fairly. Actually, just one media outlet, NME, they gave it 5. And we're going to get to all these ratings and stuff too. Hip Hop DX gave it 4.1. What was interesting about the Hip Hop DX review was the fact that he really said nothing. He really didn't say anything bad or anything great. Just kind of on the surface, almost like he could have written that He could have written that review without even listening to the album. Now the Complex one is even stranger, and we're gonna get to that. But they didn't rate it at all. It was just a lot of verbiage and some slights in there. But one thing I did notice that people stopped referring to Illmatic. So
I wonder why that is.
Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat says, Coop, after placing KD-3 in Nas's catalog last week, is KD-3 better than the OG I Am double disc? Here we go with this OG I Am.
I don't, I don't want to focus on OGIM right now, to be honest with you. But I get what he's saying. I think, you know what? Comparable, because I felt like part of what, like to me, the OGIM was potentially better than it was written, not lyrically, but production wise, because of the array and the assortment. You know what I mean? Because you have to understand, Blazer 50, Papa Was a Player, Fetus, like all that stuff is on there. Small World was on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Money Is My Bitch was on there.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, Streets Disciple hit different back then because I got married the same year. It dropped, but divorced now. That album ain't it. Funny how things change. Let's see. Man with the super chat says, Forever 21 clown, no bars, just whack punks. They push trash, in my opinion. Forever 21. I guess he's talking about 21 Savage. Craig Smith with a super chat says, Ice from the Joe Budden podcast is one of the biggest Nas haters I've ever heard. Y'all got to peep his opinion on KD3 from today's episode. What'd he say? LP with the super chat says, Lost Tapes is better than Magic. It comes down to the subject matter. Okay. I'm not mad at that.
That's what I mean. Is like I think the Magic Lost Tapes conversation is the conversation.
Yeah. Andrew Green. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Andrew Green says Nas top album tier list shakes out like this: Illmatic, It Was Written, KD3, Stillmatic, Magic, Lost Tapes. So you got a tie with KD3 and Stillmatic, a tie in third with Magic and Lost Tapes. 4, you got KD2 and Godson. 5, you got KD and Life Is Good. 6, I Am and Distant Relatives. Interesting. Liga M with the super chat says, Hip Hop DX rated KD3 a 4.1 out of 5. Slant Mag did 70. Disappointing. I didn't even read the Slant Magazine one. Okay. I'm sitting here waiting for Rolling Stone and Pitchfork, man. Andrew Green says, yo, did y'all know that the horns on To My Last Breath were from the New York Mets entrance? Nas repping Queens to the fullest. Yeah, I heard that.
007, I believe, made us privy to that, and we weren't privy to that before.
Yeah.
Right.
36
we're
Chambers.
Not from Queens or New York.
36
and we're Braves
Chambers.
fans. Go Braves, by the way.
Right. Smaller hip-hop publications are rating KD as flawless. The larger ones are rating it lower, which makes me think they are listening to something different. Or not listening at all, right? Hassan Sykes with the super chat says, the degree of difficulty was higher with Stillmatic. Everybody counted him out, including Queens. Nas was a man without a country. Now that is a good point.
That's very valid.
That is a very good point. And, I don't want to be a part of revisionist history, but you're right. Stillmatic is still one of the best comeback albums ever.
No, it's the best comeback album ever.
Vernon with the super chat says, the Shy Light sample song was on replay for me. I mean, you know what? Is it a better comeback?
They took the Bridges Over sample, Mike. Like, that's the Bridges Over sample.
What about 2001? Do you count that as a comeback album?
How's that a comeback when the last album that you made was The Chronic?
It's not. And see, I don't like that false narrative that Jigga Man put in his pen. No, you made that Aftermath album. That shit is an album. It's nothing that what's the difference between that and everything else? We're not going to act like that Aftermath album didn't happen. It did.
Okay.
Been there, done that. It's on there. I mean, East Coast Killer, West Coast Killer's on there. Yeah.
Right.
It's his album.
I mean, Mike, I guess I don't look at it from a producer's perspective of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, Dre never went anywhere though, Mike. Like he never ever went anywhere. Like think about it. Between The Chronic, we have like Doggy Style. You know what I'm saying? Then he did break off and do his own thing. Then he's connected with Nas. Then he gets Eminem.
Well, the Firm wasn't well received. Hold on. The Firm wasn't well received. It's not
like he took 3 or 4 years off, Mike. Dr. Dre didn't go anywhere for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Did I miss something?
He was
Did
missing.
Dr. Dre disappear for 4 or 5 years?
He had no hits though, Coop. It was like he was missing, and he wasn't missing, quote unquote, but he wasn't delivering at Dr. Dre level. Like when he left Death Row, he really didn't have nothing until Bitch Please, to be real. That's why I
Did
feel
he
like
make the
Bitch
Slim
Please
Shady
brought him
LP,
back.
Mike? The Slim Shady LP.
Man, come on, man. That
You're
shit
not,
ain't
Mike. You
about
can't
Dr.
change,
Dre.
Mike. Mike,
It's
you don't
not
get to
about
change.
Dr.
You don't get
Dre.
to change plaques on the wall, Mike. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to change the 3-4 million records that it sold.
So
You don't.
you're telling me the Slim Shady LP is about Dr. Dre's beats? It's
The
not.
best shit on there is. I mean, yeah, the
How
best shit
much
on
did he
there.
actually produce on there?
I think he did 5 tracks on there, at least 3.
If Dr.
I
Dre,
mean,
if we did a Dr. Dre
you don't think
versus,
that a
are we
lot of the
playing any of
buzz?
them
Hold on,
records?
do you think that all of that buzz surrounding Eminem was just because of Eminem's skin pigmentation or lack thereof, and nothing to do with the fact that this guy had linked with Dr. Dre? You
Well,
don't
I
think
think
that
it was
was part of
about.
the story at all?
I think it was about the Dr. Dre association, but I don't think it was
Thank you.
about the Dr.
So
Dre actual production, though. You know what I mean?
the firm went platinum. You do understand that, right? It's a platinum album.
He
People are
calls
acting
it a
like the firm
flop.
didn't go platinum.
He
Phone
call
tap.
he calls it a flop. That's in his own words. Y'all
I
thought I
don't
went
know who
pop
wrote
on the
that. I don't
firm
know if
flop?
Nas or Eminem wrote that, but he went platinum and he made phone tap.
I'm
Hall
saying
pass.
though, if it was a record that he was proud of, I don't think it would even be a notion about him. Did I fall off? He's saying all this stuff. You're denying stuff that he's admitted himself. Got you
Somebody
ripping
else
every
is
Chronic
writing these
poster off your
things.
wall off. Like that stuff really happened. It really did.
So you think 2001 is a comeback album? Is really more
I
or less what you're
definitely
saying.
think it's a comeback album.
I don't agree.
LP with the super chat says, he is I and I am him. Jay-Z about Young Guru. He is I and I am him. Pretty much. I mean, when it comes to social media stuff and I see Young Guru post things, I mean, it's pretty much coming from the thoughts of Jigga Man himself. Hassan Sykes with the super chat says, what rapper can defeat this run in a versus? Interesting. Mad Max with the super chat says, before the Whack Harlow talk or the 21 Trash smoke, I just want to say Black Panther 2 was trash. I love your commentary, Mad Max. You really know how to really guide a conversation. Kedro with the super chat says 9 out of 10 listen to KD3 all weekend, found reasons to drive around the city, and we know the price of gas is high. Yeah. So yeah, you really wanted to ride around to that. Let's see. I think we got a couple more, Coop, and we can really get into some of these topics. We got Tannheiser says, if Lost Tapes counts, it's a perfect album. 10 out of 10. It's Illmatic, then Lost Tapes, then It Was Written, then KD3, then Stillmatic. I like that top 5. And I'm not going to say that Lost Tapes doesn't count. Why wouldn't it count? It's a fucking album. You know what I mean? With original songs. What is it then? It's not a compilation, because compilations, have other people, or, have greatest hits. So, like, you can't call it the greatest hits. You can't call it a compilation. You can't call it a mixtape. It's an album. It is what it is.
With no features.
Yeah. Kendra with the super chat says, Nas and his team should run with 21 accidental promo. Yeah, definitely. And I think that the whole relevant conversation, if Nas wasn't relevant, then this wouldn't be all over the place, right?
Well, here's the thing about it. So let's. Are you ready?
I'm almost done. Smiles and Waves. Just hold that thought. We'll get right into that. Smiles and Waves says Hit Boy letting us know that shooting up studio bar Nas drop is coming from Jay Electronica. LOL. Been waiting for Jay Electronica to drop something. Jay Electronica in the building. Allure says it's sad to see how much
who to drop something.
Huh?
You waiting for who to drop something?
Jay Electronica. You might be waiting another 10 years or something. Allure says it's sad to see how such a legend faces so many haters. It is sad. Godfather with the super chat says if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be saying nothing. I think he said if it wasn't for y'all, they wouldn't be saying nothing. If it wasn't for y'all, they wouldn't be saying nothing. I mean, we're just here doing the show. You guys are the ones to be out here riding on them. You know what I'm saying? LP with the super chat says 28,000 greater than Griselda, Freddie G, Joey Badass, The Baby, The Game, Lotto, Jeezy, Cuddy, Tory, Mozzie, ESTG, and the same as Herbo, Takeoff, Quavo, Logic, Yeet, etc. If he's irrelevant, so are they. And more so because they're current. CJ Kidd says, I don't know you guys. He said, I didn't know you guys hate me mentioning OG. I am. My bad. Now it's not that. We just want to keep it current with KD3. But
Yeah.
And the fact that with I am, though, it's like, it just wasn't released, man.
Right. I don't want to go down the I am rabbit hole when we're talking about the concrete stuff. That's all I was trying to say. You know, I love me some OG I am. I can tell you many stories about it. Tell you about how my ex in college, my girlfriend in college, how she broke my OG I am double CD. That's part of why she's not here anymore.
That's
right?
awesome.
So you get fired. That's how you lose your job.
Ken Palmer with the super chat says, great interview with Ebro and Hit Boy on Apple TV on YouTube. Yeah, it was. And we were going to talk about that too. KD3 on replay all week. Great Twitter chat this week with someone from Mass Appeal on Nas's album. Great job, fellas. Definitely. Yeah, I was going to say, man, Ebro redeemed himself very quickly from that Hot 97 blunder of the top 5, and they did a really good interview with Hit Boy that launched today. They put that out today. I thought that was a good interview.
Me too. So I want to say a couple things. Are we cool to roll with those right now?
We got one $20 super chat, man. I'm almost done. Marquez's super chat says, the JB podcast, Ice says that it was just cool. Joe was like, he wanted Nas to go like Jay on God Did and Drake on that 21 project. What? Like lyrically. Joe also said that he was better than Nas lyrically at one point. What the hell? Joe loved KD3. Okay. Oh, man, no one takes more criticism than Nasir Jones, and I think that I'm really understanding that more as I've gotten into this space.
Hold on, Michael. I'm just going to tell you something I know. Let's just go ahead and work in reverse. Remember when I told you about how people be saying shady stuff about Nas, but then be turning around and asking for the interview?
Yeah.
Meet culprit number 1, and that's a fact. How about that? So he's just mad because he can't get no interview, and I know that, okay? Yeah. And this is why he can't get no interview. How about that? This is why he won't be getting no interview. How about that? So why he running out and saying all that up front to us? Oh, well, behind the scenes, he's still asking for the interview. So you fuck with Nas, right? Because you've been trying to get him on your show. So that's neither here nor there. I'm just going to go ahead and let that circulate.
I don't love I don't like it at all. I don't like the fact that Jay-Z keeps getting mentioned. And I know we do it in the course of our show because we're talking about them in terms of just, brevity of catalog. And you and I started this show on the whole, who's the GOAT? You had Nas, I had Jay. And most of it was a longevity conversation, right? So that's kind of why we always go there. But with some of these publications, it's like unnecessarily bringing up Jay. And the guy, let's just keep it a buck, man. One verse doesn't compete with doing 4 quality albums in 2.5 years. 2 of those albums that are arguably in his top 5. So come on, guys. And let's not sit here and act like 444, Holy Grail, and the album with Beyonce is Flames, man. It's not. It is not, man. Come on,
what guys. I'm saying. No, it's not. But listen to what I'm trying to submit. This ain't even a conversation
right now.
No, it's not. Listen to what I'm trying to submit, though. Watch the move that Joe just pulled. This is how the media works. You see, when Nas won't do your interview, then y'all will pull up and disparage the interview. You know what I'm saying? I mean, disparage the review of the album. And then you'll pull up and start talking about wild things that are like complete. Like, Mike, I mean, how unrealistic can it be for this guy to think that at any point in his life he was ever as lyrical as Nas?
I mean, come on.
You get what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, this is what I mean. Well, if I know that you've been trying to get this interview and you can't get this interview, well, you look childish to somebody like me that knows that, because now it just looks like you're being petty and small because you can't get the interview. But this is the type of behavior that goes on with media pundits, with him which is why he rarely does interviews. Like you're seeing it right now. Like look at the behavior.
I mean, this is the thing, Coop. When you say something like I'm lyrically better than Nas, nobody's believing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, why even say anything like that? Like, are you joking?
Look,
That's
the beat of smoking just came in my head. Now tell me what y'all smoke.
I mean, like, it's like Allen Houston running out there saying, "Man, I'm better than Michael Jordan," and expect people to really take him seriously when he says it.
It's like nobody believes that.
No one believes that. Why are you even saying this? That
Why are you
right
even
there,
talking that way?
to even say that
don't it
is
seem
just
personal when somebody will say something like that.
Yeah, it's coming from a whole different place.
It's coming from a place you're not being able to get the interview because you say stupid shit like that, right?
This is I want to go to this
respectfully,
complex.
and I like his podcast.
I love Joe. I love Joe, and I would tell Joe this straight up, man. Like I love Joe, and I think he does a great job. He opened up the door for artists to go out there and do the podcast and have a second career.
Mike, he's doing himself a disservice because I'm going to tell you what, he's an excellent interviewer.
Yeah, he is.
He would actually be one of the people you would want him to sit down and talk to Nas. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He would be one of the people you would want to do it.
I think he's one of the best in the game in that capacity. But for him to say that he's lyrically better than Nas, if he said that, I didn't hear it. I know that, Marquez said that, but if he said that, like, come on, man. Like, why would you say that? I wanted to get to this complex review real quick. Just a couple of things. I got the Hip Hop DX. Just in case you guys are wondering, what you're seeing on your screen, that's the actual writer of the DX interview, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to go to the complex one, though. Let's see.
Can I say something right quick?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. We're going to put people on Shine Time today. Let's do it.
Even though Ebro missed the whole rewind thing, I will say this. This is the Ebro that I used to like enjoy and love. It's like I don't know where he's been or how corporate he's been, but he has like popped up and kind of stuck his neck out and like shown himself to be the true like lover and purveyor of hip hop that I think we all knew him to be at heart.
I like Ebro on Apple TV as opposed to Ebro on Hot 97. They're two different people, it seems.
I don't like that guy. Yeah.
I love the Ebro on Apple Music. He does a great job over there, and the interviews are great. Like, he really gets in depth.
Been jacking our shit.
Yeah, right. You can tell he knows his stuff, though.
No, he's always known his stuff, Mike, and it's just like this is what I mean. Like, he sees what's going on, and he's very, very. This is what I mean. Well, I think he said it himself. He came in the game about the same time Nas did, doing what he do, and so he's looking at it from the perspective of it's like, oh well, if they'll do this to him at his age when he's like this. How do you think the game go for on the other side? It's like, oh, well, it go the same damn way, my dude. And he understands that part of it, too.
Well, let me tell you what I would like to see. Because I feel like, to me, and then we're going to get to this part of the conversation when we talk about streaming, I don't really understand the purpose that commercial radio serves at this point in the game anyway. At least when we're talking about, from a music standpoint, they're not able to really debut music that much. Artists aren't really going there to get interviewed per se. And then you got things like, Apple Music, they have their own like network of things. So, and then not to mention stuff like Station Head, right? So I would like to see Ebro, getting out of that Hot 97 seat and doing the Apple thing full time. That's what I would like to see as a fan of what he does.
I think that would be safe for him anyway, because we probably gonna end up having to ride on Hot 97. So
it's the future. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "I deleted all my social media and stayed off of YouTube to avoid hearing about KD-3. I finally finished it, and it left me in awe. It's the first time I've ever been stunned while listening to an album." I got that whole feeling when we were doing our streaming event, debuting the album. Like, I'm sitting here in awe. Like, am I really listening to what I'm listening to, or am I just gassing it up in the moment? And it was cool to see other 400 people felt the same way.
You know what I would equate it to, Mike? Imagine if, like let's say Barry Sanders kept playing football, Mike, but he only became like a third down back or a punt returner, kick returner, but kind of stayed around the league for another 10, 15 years. And then, he took a few years off and he came back, and it's like he showed flashes of the guy that you'd see, but you didn't know if you would see him again. Like, that's Nasir and that's KD1. But then The motherfucker starts breaking 50-yard runs again like it's 1990 or some shit. You'd be looking at yourself and be thinking to myself, hold on, like that's the Barry Sanders that like was in his second year of the league that was averaging like 6.5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
When you could literally grab somebody by the throat and like slam them halfway across the field, he was averaging like 6-7 yards a carry. And that's what the degree of difficulty level looks like on this. Like imagine Barry Sanders coming back out here and doing spin moves and busting 50-yard runs again. That's what KD3 sounds like. It's like, yo, did this thing, like when legit comes on, Mike, it's like, and you hear how easy he is on the track and how dope the beat is, you like, this nigga 50 or going on 50.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean when I was like, some things was written for some people to be a certain way. Mike, when did hip hop start?
Hip hop started on paper, 73?
But what day?
It was August 11th.
He's literally born a month later, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
His birth even coincides with the history of like what we formalize and known as hip hop. Like he's turning 50 when hip hop's turning 50. Some things are written that way, Mike.
It is very interesting. I didn't realize it like that. Yeah, you're right.
Written that way, Mike. It was meant to be that way. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't be sitting up here living your life and like ignoring the signs.
He's the one.
Right.
He's literally the one.
A month after this shit started, Mike.
Yeah, he's the one.
Yeah, he'll be turning 50 with hip hop.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says Coop and A2HH led the way with the KD3 promo. Definitely. I want to read a little bit from this Complex review if you don't mind. Did you read the review? The Complex one? The Complex one.
No.
All right. Well, you're probably going to be in awe on this too. So, what you got on the screen here is the writer of this review, because I always like to put the writer out there. I think you need to know their Twitter handles and stuff so you can, let them know what you think about the review. Anyway, he got to this point. He says,
"What's his name?" Oh, you said you're putting it up?
Yeah, I got
it on the chat.
Screen.
No, I just need to go into the chat.
I think it's like
see.
Peter something. And so... All right, so he says, on the otherwise dope Get Light, which features a great Biggie interpolation, Nas unleashes a sort of a weak one-liner that's not even clever enough to be a fortune cookie. The sun doesn't even know it's a star. That's the quote that he's criticized. Then he says...
That's what I was getting tagged in Twitter about.
Okay. And then he says... When it's not so plagued by shoddy bars like that one, KD3 is hindered slightly by its general lack of humor, cadence that can be redundant, and hooks that are rarely authentic. Nas sounds as comfortable as ever spitting over Hit Boy's glossy boom bap, but the sounds aren't electric enough to be distinctive, and without guest features or much tonation variation from Esco, things can get a little stale by the final few tracks. KD3 isn't necessarily the apex Nas, and it might be better if it were trimmed down to the length of, say, Magic, but it also doesn't have to be for it to be a strong album. So he wasn't impressed by the cadences, said the cadences were redundant. I don't know if he was expecting humor from Nas. I thought that was an interesting take. I don't know if he thought he was listening to Ludacris. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but I've never seen that criticism.
What's his name?
His name is Peter Berry. But
Peter Berry?
Yeah, but his Twitter handle is something different. I think it's like Peasy or something. Yeah, his Twitter handle is at PELLZ_.
Is that Barry with the E or a R or a A? I mean,
Barry with the B. B as in boy.
No, with an E or A.
Oh, sorry, BERRY.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he calls himself the light-skinned Yaga male or something. Okay, anyway, so yeah, that was his criticism of it, and then he went on to talk about the 21. Now, again, I found it interesting that Complex didn't actually rate the album. Building up to that section, you know, he had decent stuff to say about it. It wasn't really glowing, but I thought that criticism was interesting. What did you think about that? Because I know you hadn't read this review yet.
Okay. See, there we go. See, Peter Berry is tagged to Double XL magazine.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Yeah, well, they've been on some sucker shit for a while, so this isn't surprising. See, like, there's always a train that'll like lead you.
Peter must be in the room. We just got a thumbs down.
Oh, don't nobody care.
Peter,
I'm glad you're in the room. You have to catch this fade right quick.
Hey, man, you wrote this. Stand on it. It's cool.
Stand on it. Right.
If I write something, I'll stand on it. If I believe it.
Right. Stand on what you write.
Yeah.
Just know that you're wrong. So he's a writer and editor in the New York area. You can follow him.
Shine
what
time.
You say? Yeah, at Pellz, PELLZ _.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen again for the people.
Okay, yeah, put it up for people. We're gonna have a conversation.
And he was pretty proud about writing it too. He says, "I got a chance to write about Nas KD-3 and the reward of living to tell the tale." I guess he's expecting you guys to come through.
It's about to be a long day for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was interesting though. But what do you think about the criticism of the cadences though? I mean, do you think that there are any legitimacies here? Do you think that bar on Get Light stood out to you? Because I didn't even really, it didn't register to me.
First of all, this is what I mean. Why are you nitpicking like this great record? Like, see what I'm saying is, it's like you can't find when you can't find stuff. This is the type of writing that you get. Like, you know how far into the album you have to get Light? Do you know how far you have to go through the discourse of breaking down what is fundamentally sound or not to you? And so you'll nitpick at something like that to try to make it seem like it's not entertaining. It's like, how old is Peter?
Not sure.
Sounds kind of childish. Sounds like he's young too. And it sounds like when somebody pulls up and says that they think the cadence on here is off, like, not to be funny, it's like, you sound like you might have been raised on a different type of rap where it's like the cadence, quite frankly, isn't like what you think it is. That's not cadence. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. I mean, you may not know what cadence is. I hate to say this, but like, respectfully, it's like, I don't think the motherfucker know what cadence is if he's complaining about the cadences on the album. Just like, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what cadence means? That's what I mean. It's like, might have to pull up and be like, what is cadence? And explain to me specifically, when you're talking about the cadences on this album, reference songs and reference points so that we know what you're talking about. Because when you ask people to do stuff like that, they usually reveal themselves to be a fool. So we're about to find out if he's a fool or not in a little bit.
Well, this sentence was interesting to me too, where he says, "Hit Boy's glossy boom bap, but the sounds aren't electric enough to be distinct." I felt like that the production on there was very distinctive. I think that there was a lot of variety on there. That's where I really gave it high marks, from the different cadences that Nas chose, like even flipping it on some drill shit on some of the on Reminisce at the end, and the way he was kind of able to just speed up the flow, slow it down. He really put in some work to actually check all of those boxes, and for someone to actually, be critical of that, like that wasn't there. And there's one thing to say that if you felt like he attempted to do those things and he didn't execute properly, you can say that. But he's acting like those things weren't even there, which I think is just a falsehood.
See? So, Mike, but this is what I'm saying. You have to watch who you're dealing with. So let's go to Peter's Twitter page right quick. Mm-hmm. You know the first thing? You know a pinned tweet that's put up right now?
What's up?
I saw his life slipping. This is a minor setback. You're still in all we living. Just dream about the get back. That made him smile, though his eyes said, pray for me. I'll do you better. Do you one better and slay these niggas faithfully. Mike, where does that come from?
We know where that comes from. Let me go to Super Chat.
You see how quick you can get to the root of shit just by going and just looking. It's like, that's his pinned tweet that's up right now. He posted that November 9th of 2017. So we already know who he partial and what he partial to. Because this is him.
It shouldn't be like that, though.
Mike, he's using this bar to quote an anime where two famous characters are fighting and one is dying. So he's using Jay-Z to quote anime. He's a fan.
Yeah.
Right, so we're
Jadarian
just
with
gonna
the
go ahead and
super
start
chat.
snatching your credibility away. See, this is the beautiful thing about Twitter too, is that no, everything that you do,
Documented.
it's documented.
We
So
see
it's
who you
like,
are.
let's go ahead and get that out the way.
All
You
right,
know what I'm
let me
saying?
get to the super chats real quick. I want to see what the
Yeah,
people are
please.
thinking, and maybe I'm bugging.
I'm
Jadarian's
just about to tweet Peter right now live and let tweet Peter know it's about to be a long night. His name is Light Skin Yagami at Pels, capital PELLZ _ Definitely pull up. It's about to get entertaining. Have some questions for him.
Yeah. Jadarian says, I'm doing this for YouTube because I care for this podcast. Please listen to the podcast first. Some of these chats are somewhat misleading. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely listen to it. I don't want to pass judgment. That's why I said, if what Joe said was that, then, why would he say that? But yeah, I'll definitely go listen to it. Because like I said, Joe does a great job. Wild Soul 88 says Nas is a great heavyweight champ, and 21 Savage is a strawweight fridge contender. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, yeah, he said that he was better than old Nas lyrically. For people asking, it was a while ago. Like, homie, even on your best day, get the fuck out of here.
He said the hooks. Listen to what he says. Like, because now I'm reading it. The hooks that are rarely anthemic. Who out here is doing anthemic hooks? I want him to give me some examples of these things. You see how writers will just write stuff, but they don't have any evidence. What anthemic hooks are he talking about? Because I hate to be the one to break it to him. Ain't nobody talking about no anthemic hooks on Her Loss either, but that's not in the review now, is it?
It's not.
Right.
Boycott Activision, says, y'all do a call-in show, people disrespecting Stillmatic. We should do a call-in show on Station Head.
I was about to say, Mike and I have been throwing some Station Head concepts around for recording the hip-hop and for my live show. Like, we're about to start doing some daytime radio shit because the radio today sucks, quite frankly. And this Nas drop and Hot 97 still, being a hub and a sub in every major market in this country is a big, big problem. And yeah,
I know a lot of people were asking, like, why Station Head and why not YouTube? Well, I mean, unfortunately, we can't play music on YouTube. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you what, and you want to know who put us on the Station Head? The Plug.
Yeah.
No, the Plug.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And it was a great look.
It was a great look. I told the Plug today, this morning, I was like, oh, you big for that Station Head shit because we about to go ham on these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Mad Max in the super chat says, JBP's trash. Ice, what is it? Ice Fraud Jersey guy who always trying to neck the South. No disrespect, Joe needs to pay Rory and Maul. Joe was never Nas pumping it up. His ego, like, bro, you had one single and your pod's been shit since 2019. I'm gonna be honest, like I said, I like what Joe does. I haven't really watched the podcast for real since Rory and Maul's departure. And not because of that, I just haven't. You know what I mean?
Well, we've been busy, too, building out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mike, this is what I'm talking about. You got to watch these guys. Listen to what he says. Besides acts like Jay-Z, very few rappers have been this good for this long. Hold on. Stop.
No, wait a minute.
Stop. Pause. Talking about besides Jay-Z. No, you mean besides Nas.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Because now, let's just be real. If we're talking about, if you want to play that game, been this good for this long.
We have to pull up on Peter.
There's
Peter,
nobody.
Peter, I don't see, Mike, I don't be wanting to do this.
I think that we have to do this so people don't think that we're bugging. And I know somebody, with a super chat that's coming up saying something along the lines of, instead of focusing on these dweebs, their words, not mine, stream the album. Yes, stream the album, of course. But I do think that it's part of, the conversation just to see what the major media outlets are saying about these things. Not to credentialize the actual artist or the actual project, but these platforms are losing their credibility when they're saying things that are starkly different than what the public's saying. It just is what it is. Non-Plus with the super chat says, set up another streaming party for week 2 of KD-3. If y'all down to do it, we down to do it. If y'all gonna show up, y'all gonna pull up, we with it.
You want to know what? I'm about to say, I would actually like to have some fun with it if we could, and maybe like if we're really gonna do it, like let's play KD3 and KD2 and KD1 and Magic. Let's like line them up and like, you know, like play them and like have some fun with it. Or just play the KD series. It don't even have to be Magic. Let's like do a KD series party if we're gonna do it. Because we've already done the KD3 listening party. I've already done the bar seminar for KD3. Let's give the whole series some love. Like let's maybe get a fourth one out of them maybe. So it's like I would like to do a KD party if we're gonna do it like where we're running through everything. Because I also think running through the series, you'll hear the progression. And we won't have to have people like Peter talking about how besides Jay-Z, people aren't this good this long. The last time Jay-Z made a dope album, my daughter was 2. We're talking about buying her a car. Do people understand what I'm saying? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? The last time Jay-Z made a dope album, which is the Blueprint 3, my daughter was 2 years old.
And again,
she has a job, Mike. She might go to France this spring without me. She'll be driving this time next year, Mike, in her own vehicle. She was 2 the last time he made a good solo album.
Let me be fair. You and I aren't big fans of 444, but there are a lot of people who are, right? There are a lot of people who are.
But those people are wrong, Mike. I'm sorry. That's the media driving and pushing the narrative. The music's not good, and those people have no evidence, Mike.
Cool.
We've been asking for evidence on this show of why 444 is good for years now, and we have yet to find some concrete evidence. We have about 3 or 4 songs. It's like, you do understand 3 or 4 songs means the album's not good, right? But not with Jay. When Jay makes 3 or 4 songs that are good, it's like, you know, this album is great, Coop, right?
Let's just say,
it's like, no, it's not good.
Coop, let's just say it's great. That's
Give it up, turn it loose.
Let's just say it's great, right? That's 2017. That's 5 years ago. And so when you got 2017 to 1996, what are we talking about? 21 years? Impressive. But then you got 94 to 2022, and then you got 4 albums in a 2.5 year period. This man stands alone at this point. So yeah, you can't say besides Jay-Z, like this is just it. Actually, that's like literally saying Tom Brady and be like, oh well, besides Peyton Manning. No, Tom Brady's alone right now.
That's what I mean. So this is what I mean. It's like, where's this dude at? Like, where is he coming from?
No, because I mean, we're talking about coming out doing some spot verses here and there, and if people want to bring up the God did verse, great. But if we're talking about full albums, Jay is missing in action. If you want to compare him to him at this point,
you see, but this is what I mean. Like he slid Jay in at the back of the article, exactly. Mike. He's trying to be slick. Like, I'm a writer, you're a writer. Like, we know when writers are being slick. That's why it's like, oh, I'm reading it. And it's like, I'm like, hold up, wait for it. It's like, yep, there it go. There go that bullshit.
You know, it comes across is, you know, when Nas is on a run like this, they're trying to find a way to slide Jay in and make him comparable to this run without actually putting out an album, which I think is the dishonest part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they're not competing with each other right now. Like I said, Tom Brady's out there on the field while Peyton Manning respectfully is out here commentating the games. That's what's going on right now. Now, is he going to come out of retirement and put out an effort? We'll see. But until that happens, Nas stands alone. Peter Parks with the super chat says, Consequence of Sound gave a glowing review to KD3. I like Consequence of Sound.
Hold on. And this is another thing that I'm talking about too. Listen to what I mean. Like, this is an agent piece, and this is why it's an agent piece. Mm-hmm. He just spent about 3 paragraphs on the back end of this article, leaving final sentiments for you, talking about how 21 Savage relevancy comment. Why is 21 Savage relevancy comment taking up a bulk of a King's Disease 3 review, Mike?
And they didn't even rate the album.
And they didn't rate the album, and on top of that, this is what people have to understand. It's like, no, that lives forever. So now when somebody goes and reads Complex Review, they're going to see that some rapper, 21 Savage, who won't be around as long as Nas, made these relevancy claims and make that part of the release of this album instead of making it about the album. You see how the media is still controlling the narrative? Like, 21 Savage has no place in a King's Disease 3 review. So this is a shitty piece of journalism once again, because you're including things that have nothing to do with the music to skew it away from the fact that it's great.
You're including Jay-Z that has nothing to do with the album.
Right.
As well.
Jay's not here and can't fuck with Nas right now.
Yeah, and that's just what it is.
And that's just a fact.
And that's coming from somebody who has always said I thought Jay was better. And you're factual in this. I was wrong.
It's not even about right or wrong about this point, Mike. It's about what we can see with our own eyes, what we
Right.
hear with our own ears. And so when he wants to use the back end of this article to insert Jay-Z and 21 Savage into what is supposed to be a moment for Nas, do you understand what I've been saying about how the media is the biggest problem even today? Like, even past the numbers, because it's like, no, this is how they keep controlling the narrative. You're getting the end of a King's Disease 3 review, and they're talking about Jay's placement and the relevancy that 21 Savage is talking about, when 21 Savage probably isn't even going to be around half as long as Nas. Let's just keep it funky.
And, if you guys want to holler at, what is his name, the light-skinned Yagamin, you want to holler at him about his review, here's his Twitter handle, at PELLZ_. Let him know what you thought about his,
But I will say this, Mike. Mm-hmm. If you don't like how I'm handling it, it's like, pull up on me. You know what I'm saying? Because truthfully, I shouldn't have to behave this way, because people shouldn't be behaving this way. And I hate to say it, this is kind of how this business and this culture works. It's like, nah, if you don't put somebody out on Front Street and have them explain themselves and check their integrity and check their biases and check their page and see where their biases are at, they're going to do this. A lot of people feel like we shouldn't be doing this, or I shouldn't be doing this the way that I'm doing it. But the fact of the matter is that, well, it just got shit done, and
this
it really
is how
wasn't
you get
me because
change.
Well, things need to change, but Mike, it's nothing if the people ain't with it. The reason that it changed is because the people was behind it, because the people see it. So stop treating the people like they're foolish and they don't see it, and feeding us this bullshit and expecting it to fly. It's like those days are dying, and we're seeing to it that it's dying, because I ain't heard no Illmatic talk for the first time that this man has released the album in my entire life. This is the first time I haven't heard the whole Illmatic run all over again. And it's like, thank God. Like I want you to understand something. There's something fundamentally wrong about grown men who want to hold on to the thoughts of a 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old man their whole lives. You get what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Because that's what Illmatic is. Illmatic is the thoughts of a 15 to 20-year-old young man and teenager. It's like you hold on to those thoughts forever, Mike. That's why I like Death Row East. That's a grown-ass man talking on Death Row East. That's not the Nas I grew up with. That's the Nas that's a grown man. I'm a grown-ass man.
Let me tell you a little story real quick, man, and I don't want to get too off topic, but, we got HOA over here and all that stuff, and it's my first time in life actually having those kind of things going on.
Yes, and those can be very problematic as well.
And so, when you complain about, maybe trash being out in the neighborhood or whatever, anything you complain about, you call these people, nothing gets fixed. But you know what? We got this community Facebook page, right? When somebody puts it on that page, that shit gets cleared up real quick. When you let everybody know what's going on, and everybody gets put on Front Street, unfortunately. Yeah, people get put on Front Street. Unfortunately, shit changes in a flash. And that's what this is. I mean, you don't have to like the approach, but do you like the result?
Right. And so the result of it is we getting stuff done this way. And so we're going to keep getting it done this way, because I am proud to say, I think how we're doing it is helping change the narrative, because I think there's been a large majority of us out there that have been feeling this way, and ain't nobody been checking them. Mm-hmm. And here's the beautiful thing about social media.
The people have spoken.
Just like you get to put out this type of misinformation or skew this argument immediately with this review, we get to come right back at you and be like, well, what you mean when you said this?
Yeah.
Explain yourself. Explain. Like I'm gonna pull up on him and be like, explain to me how Jay-Z is relevant compared to Nas right now musically, and why you put that in your article. Explain to me why this album wasn't rated. Explain to me why you're inserting 3 paragraphs of 21 Savage into a King's Disease review and calling yourself a review writer. Now, is this an editorial or is this a review piece? Because you go from reviewing the album into a Jay-Z and 21 Savage editorial. Now, are you a writer or are you an agent? No, these are valid-ass questions.
Those are valid
questions.
You're
not about to skate anymore. And the fact of the matter is that you know how many other artists on Nas's level have people that just put the same energy that we did into making sure that they succeed? Like, this isn't uncommon. It's uncommon for you to see it come from people who enjoy Nas's music. This isn't uncommon to you. No, Beyonce's people, Mike,
You wouldn't
Say
dare.
something. Say something wrong about Beyonce, Mike. I wish a motherfucker would. I wish the motherfucker would, Mike.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, and appreciate that $20 super chat too. He said, on Trevor Noah, Nas himself said, in other genres of music, they don't compare their artists. If the Rolling Stones are winning, they don't talk about Kiss. So why do we do it when Nas' album is fire? Why does somebody lose? I'm sorry. Why does somebody lose for Nas to win? I guess why does somebody have to lose for Nas to win? Right. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, the album review should only be talking about the album. And if you're going to talk about any artist, it's got to be him. He's in no man's land. There's nobody to compare him to right now. Period. And honestly, too, throwing 21 Savage's bullshit in there, for lack of a better term, it's irrelevant. I want to use that. He's irrelevant. What he has to say about a legend that has accomplished this much in hip hop is irrelevant.
Well, Mike, he's tagged. He's with Double XL or affiliated with as a writer. He's retweeting Jay-Z bars from Dead Presidents in 2017. He's literally bringing up Jay-Z when Jay-Z has no placement whatsoever in here, unless you're talking about the bars on Thun. Unless you're talking specifically about the bars on Thun, has no placement in here. We're past reviewing the album because he's at the end. See, he ends it with his personal feelings. And his personal feelings is it's like, let me skew this a little bit to make sure the guy that I love the most, remains in this conversation, remains on top. So I'm going to sneak his name in, and then I'm going to talk about what 21 said about Nas. You feel what I'm saying? And that's exactly what he did.
It's a little hit piece-ish, to be real.
And no, see, this is what I mean. People have to understand this. As a criminal gets smarter and finds new ways, so do the police and the operations and the intel that come with it. It's a constant game. And so now they know that they can't do the Illmatic thing. And so they're finding more passive ways to give you the bullshit. That's what all of this has really been about that we need to get to. The posting of the Grammy pictures, okay? The 21 Savage comment. We're going to talk about 21. It's about to be bad for him up on here.
Yeah. And what I noticed about...
We about to talk about your ass without including Nas. How about that?
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you read the Hip Hop DX review where they gave it a 4.1. And I'm going to go ahead and give some shine time to that reviewer as well.
We need to finish. I want to finish with Complex and finish with my boy Pete right quick.
Okay, yeah, finish with Pete. But what I was going to say about that review, though, is the fact that I noticed that the term relevant was used a lot. Relevance and relevant. It's like, is that the new word to switch out for Illmatic?
That's what I'm saying, Mike. You paying attention? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You see what they're trying to do? It's like, oh, well, we can't bring up the old stuff, so let's bring up if he's still relevant since we can't talk about Illmatic. See?
Yeah.
Well, is he relevant if we can't talk about Illmatic then? See how a media person thinks is not a fan of his, that doesn't support the music, that supports somebody else's agenda?
What were you going to say about Pete? Go ahead, finish up on Pete so we can get on to this DX and then get on the Savage.
To quote the sample that we just got from Westside Gun on Peppers, don't take this ass whooping personally. This is about hip hop. And so when you get your card pulled, you need to take it like a man, because too many people is like coming out and making it seem like, oh, no, this is what you get, what you deserve. Like you said, you're going to have to stand on it. So I just want you to stand on your words when I pull up on you and tag everybody involved and find out what you really think. Because I believe we did that before. People started deleting their Twitter accounts and like backpedaling. And it's like, no. Stand on your two and just say who you love.
Now I give it to Will Dukes. Will Dukes over there at Rolling Stone. He didn't back down. He responded. He told people, "Thank you for reading the article." Yada yada. And I tweeted out to Will Dukes like, "Look, man, what's going on with the review, man? Where it's at? Where we at? How we looking?"
Oh no! I seen you asking for the review, Mike. It was very nice how you asked for the review.
I don't think
Mike,
we're getting
you were very what's the word? You and my grandfather were born around the same time in terms of like days. You're very pragmatic and like thoughtful, like he was. And I used to try to be that way. And I realized that like I wasn't like him and that wasn't getting shit done for me. But this way does. And that's what's up.
I was like, look, how's it going? How's it coming along, man? I just want to.
No. It's very thoughtful of you. You know.
Mad Max with the super chat says, what's tonation variation? Tired of these Oreos or other dudes talking about rap music. You want Nas to do a Young Thug impersonation?
That's what I was trying to say when he's like, he doesn't really know what cadence is, Mike. I wanted to say it. It's like, oh, well, it sounds like you grew up on Future and Thug, and there's nothing against that because I'm from the A. It's just you may not know what cadence is really.
Let me see what the rest of the people have to say in the super chat because this is going to be interesting. Kendall Outlaw says, looking for humor in a Nas album. When was Nas ever known to be funny? People will say anything for a reaction. Let's see what other super chats. Andrew Green with the super chat says, did y'all see Hit Boy's interview with DJ Academic on Spotify? In my opinion, Academic did a good journalistic job. Hit Boy's backstory is inspiring. I did not see that, and I agree with you. I think when DJ Academic does his Spotify show, he actually does a really good job. I'm gonna check that out. We got some more super chats.
Support Hit Boy behind. Because Hit Boy supported us.
Oh, definitely.
The rest of these motherfuckers was acting like we didn't exist, knowing that we existed.
Well, shout out to Hit Boy, yes, man. The post was dope. Yeah. I mean, because again, people at certain levels of notoriety, they may see the show, but you know, they never acknowledge. And you know, Hit Boy didn't have to do that. We really appreciate it. That was a good look. Kendro says, laughing at all the Nas hate. Ha ha ha. Like Elliot Wilson's corny laugh. Ha ha. Not the Elliot Wilson laugh. Non Plus with the super chat says, instead of wasting energy on these lame reviewers, let's go stream KD3 and run up the numbers. They want to take the attention away from KD3. We can do all of that. We can set up another streaming party and we'll multiply the numbers and you can do it individually as well. 36 Chambers says, there are 4 beat switches and cadence changes in Michael and Quincy. Fuck out of here with that weak ass critique. Sounds like someone who doesn't get it or just didn't listen at all.
Or is an agent, Mike.
I can't say this name is Awak. He says, what are your favorite Hit Boy beats? Not songs of the run. Mine are number 1, Big Nas, number 2, The Cure, 3, Store Run, and 4, Thun. What are some of your favorite Hit Boy beats from this run?
I probably have to go by album. If I'm going in reverse, I mean, the production jobs on Mike and Quincy and WTF SMH are they're just stellar, Mike. They're otherworldly. That's the type of stuff top 10 all-time producers produce.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of records top 10 all-time producers produce. Records like that. So those 2 records come to mind. Mike, I love Legit.
I love Legit too.
When I read that article and said non-anthemic hooks, I'm like, the second song is an anthemic hook.
Yeah.
And it's an inspirational one on top of that. He's actually talking about you maximizing your hustle if it's illegal and making it legitimate to all black homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
Throw out the lease.
Once
like, this is what I'm saying. This is the guy that you want to trash. No, Mike, it's like he said on WTF SMH, and it might be verse of the year. In the community, providing jobs, why would you come for me? Why you ain't proud of Nas? Like, that's really what we really need to be asking. Yeah. Think about it.
That's my question for Agent 21, too. I mean, we're going to get
provided jobs. Why would you come for me? Why would you come for Nas? Think about all the other people that these people could be coming for. Why do they come for him? Because he speaks this black power shit.
Did you just see the super chat from NDU Jams? He says, community love, providing jobs. Why would you try to come for me? Why you ain't proud of Nas? Everybody's thinking the same thing.
Mike, what was I playing when I called you?
Yeah.
When you called me? Because I can't get it out of my head. I'm like, like, he's right. That means Mike, he's in tune. He knows it's going on.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
He's been knowing it's been going on for a long time. I think
why would you come for me? Why you ain't proud of Nas? Listen to what this man's saying. Why would you come for me? why you ain't proud of Nas?
We got
and
a
we really
super
got to
chat
start
here.
asking that question legitimately.
Yeah.
Like, it's been legitimate, but it's like, no, why do people keep coming for him?
You know, I think that, and again, I don't mean to bring up Jay, but it was a part of the diss record that I always thought was funny and it was weird. I was like, Jay literally knocked Nas for kicking knowledge on Takeover.
Right.
Like, what what kind of, so that's a diss? It's like, switch up your flow. Your shit is garbage. You trying to kick knowledge? Like it was the wrong thing to do or something. Yeah. Super chat here. We got, is Alfredo better than Pinata and Bandana? To me, it is.
Yes.
To me, it is.
Let me hesitate about that.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Michael and Quincy is a miracle. I'm not sure I've ever heard the execution of a song and matched the vision so perfectly. Hit went crazy with the switches. Eric's Rub with the super chat says, KD-3 Productions said, like, yay, in a great way. Okay. Peter Parks with the super chat says, Nas makes the insecure of these guys come out. I guess the insecurities of these guys come out. They hate because they can't do what he's doing, or they don't like what he's doing or the direction that he's taking when he does it.
Well, you know what? Here's what it is, Mike. Nobody really owns him or controls him. He does what he wants, and he speaks the way that he wants to speak. It's like he reposts who he wants to post. He does ads with who he wants to do. Like, he does what he wants to do, and people don't like that. They don't like that he doesn't belong to anybody. Like, Mike, I keep telling people, this is a Black empowerment album. On top of, like, all the great things about it,
it is.
He is saying something empowering, uplifting for our people almost on every record. And that is really what I think the problem is at the end of the day. Because the only reason that I can think of why he has all these issues, Mike, is because America says that if you're Black and you're proud and you're intelligent and you're better than your peers, we're going to do everything to try to tear all of that shit away from you.
And he's preaching unity. That's the thing. And because
there's a song called "Don't Shoot" to end this album.
Yeah, and beef. This is how he's ending it. This is a unity thing.
Like, he starts off by telling you to go legit.
Yeah. Bryce W with the super chat says, Nas did a KD series plus Magic, and people still talking about that sub-mid Jay-Z on God Did. Jay-Z verse on God Did. Also, Magic's not getting any Grammy love. Is a fail. Yes, we're going to get to that too. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, do you guys think that Nas and Hit Boy will put out an artist of their own and form their own Gangstar Foundation and call the group King's Court? That's a lot. Have Hit Boy produce for those artists too. I think Hit Boy said in the interview with Ebro that, you know, he has a lot of stuff going on as far as producing for other artists, and Nas has a lot going on with a lot of his, you know, companies and film, and so that sounds like more of the direction they're going, and when they come together as a unit, they make music. So Frank Wizard with the super chat says, but brothers want trophies. They troll for clout. Rap is weird flex, but okay, you ain't as ill as you think. You just okay. King's disease. Andrew Green says, ironic, KD 1 bars, LOL, but brothers want trophies. They troll for clout. Rap is weird flex, but okay, y'all ain't as ill as you think. You just okay. Yeah. Jay Short is in the building. Says, sorry I'm late, fellas. 10-4 Koofy hat. Yeah, I love the 10-4 Koofy time. Let's get it. He says, so Jay post those Grammys. Had nothing to do with Nas. It was to lend his legitimacy to those BS nominations they put out there today. They're not slick. Anytime that you do add worth to an institution, yeah, you do credentialize them. I do think that Jay-Z posting all of his Grammys did continue to validate the Grammys. I mean, how could it not? He was showing off his Grammys as an accomplishment. It's validation.
But this is the same person that used to boycott the Grammys too.
Exactly, until you start winning them. Yeah. Brooklyn Kennedy with the super chat.
He started doing what?
Until he started winning them.
Buying.
Oh, come on. Jay earned them, man.
Which ones?
He has so many. It'll take me a long
Right.
time to really go through.
Okay, Mike, you got very, very muffled when you were talking about those Grammys. We're just gonna go to the next
Brooklyn
conversation.
Kennedy says one mic is the phrase used to moderate the room. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it is actually. Who was using one mic to moderate the room? Oh, the 21 Savage thing. They were using one mic to actually moderate the room when people start
Very
talking.
problematic.
Yeah, it was like when a bunch of people start talking over each other, the host would be like, one mic, one mic. Funny, right? Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, since y'all called out none of the reviews mentioned Illmatic, or since y'all called it out, none of the reviews mentioned Illmatic, or they do so to highlight Nas's longevity. Great job again, leading the way. Now I did see in this Complex review, he found a slick way of talking about a bar from Illmatic without mentioning Illmatic, and I thought that was intentional. Where he was talking about the buck that won, that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was like he mentioned that bar without quoting in it, without saying where it was from either, and I thought that was intentional also. LP says,
Really?
"Nah, Coop." Yeah, he did it at the top of the review, I believe. He says, "You did it how it had to be done. Respect." Talking about going in on these people. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says Black Star show in NYC last night was phenomenal. Large Professor performed and West Side Gun, No Fear of Time songs are even better performed live. I will say this, man. I want to say this on air, and I meant to put this in my notes. Black Star was incredible on SNL Saturday.
Oh, they were?
They were incredible on SNL Saturday.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yasin and Talib tore it down on SNL Saturday.
They did. I'm
They
going to
did.
watch the whole show. I've been hearing about the Dave thing too, so I'm going to watch everything. I might do that tonight.
It was one of those things, though. I don't think that the audience knew what they were watching, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit was so raw, and they performed the two songs that I thought should have been singles anyway. Because obviously on this album there is no singles because nothing's really been released.
What did they perform?
Shit. I just kind of know these songs by the tracks, but the second track on there, and I want to say it was like the fifth track on there. I want to say it was "Make the Main Thing the Main Thing."
Mm-hmm.
Chris Daughtery with the super chat says, "Coop, y'all answering y'all questions now. Let me ask, how much does Jay-Z control these publications, or do you think the media is acting on its own?"
Well, this is what I mean. When we act this way in his favor, people are like, y'all are on a crusade for Nas. It's like, no, we're just like literally the first people to consistently speak out because these publications are obviously not
They're biased.
fans of his message or belong corporation wise or money wise in bed with people who don't want to do business with Nas or his adversaries or his competition. And that's just the fact of the matter. That's why I'm saying we're only standing out, Mike, because everything literally is on the other side.
It's a script. You know what I mean? Like everybody is
Right.
on script, and we're just acknowledging the fact that
Like if
these
there was
things
some
are
balance,
scripts.
Mike, we wouldn't be standing out.
Right.
Right. The
If
fact
there-
that we're standing out is showing you the imbalance that's going on. That's why I keep doing what I'm doing and we keep doing what we're doing. It's because it's like, well, you're still not being balanced.
Right. Jay Short with the super chat says, A2H Ace is the antithesis of Complex. First of many battles.
Oh, well, they don't suck that bad because we're great. And that would mean they're not any good.
I like Complex.
They're
I think
solid.
they do a
about to
good
say,
job.
they're solid.
Yeah. I mean, they do a good job with their visual content. But when it comes to the actual music, though, I think they're more about fashion.
You say they do a good job with their visual content.
They do. They're more about sneakers and fashion and stuff like that
Oh,
than
right.
they are
The
the music.
ancillary things. They handle the ancillary very well. Yes.
They're kind of
Yes.
like MTV used to be with hip hop in the 90s, where it was like,
Yes,
yeah,
very much so. Very much so.
JSN highlights.
You still like some MTV jams, though.
Yeah. MTV jam, but they ain't got no Bill Bellamy's over there, I don't think. JSN highlights with the super chat says, my 5 favorite Nas songs in order. Verbal Intercourse, it's not his song. Oh, is it songs or my 5 favorite Nas songs in order? You mean features. All right, verbal intercourse. He got More Money, More Murder, Ether, Project Window, and It Ain't Hard to Tell. I see where he went there. Let me get to the end of the super chat. Did you read the Hip Hop DX review? And we can kind of go on to this 21 Savage thing.
I did.
What did you think about
it? How did he get a 4.1?
Yeah, he didn't really explain any of that. You know what I'm saying? And the writer of this one was Eric Dipey. I think that's how you say his name, Eric Dipey. Yeah. And this is the gentleman right here. But yeah, he kind of just, it was very bland. He really didn't say much of glowing things. It didn't say anything critical either. And it's just like, how do we get to the 4.1?
I mean, Mike, I'm just going to be honest with you. I feel like we got niggas shook right now. That's what it looks like.
That's what it feels like, because by now, Pitchfork normally puts out their Friday album reviews on Tuesday. Yes, I know this.
They're definitely shook.
And they haven't put out anything. Rolling Stone, they haven't put out anything. Will Dukes, if you're in the room, let us know how that review is going. I don't know.
No. They're afraid. We know they're afraid. They better not, because they don't even really belong to this culture like that. So they're, you know what? Them actually not doing the review is like the smartest thing that they've both done in a very long time, because, well, they're very well aware now because of us that they're not a part of this culture and not really wanted by this culture. And so when they step into this culture, they better contribute properly when it comes to assessing our legendary figures. Mm-hmm. Now, you want to trash some dude that just came out that don't have no notoriety in this game? He needs to make a better album and gain his notoriety. But you're not pulling up on a 50-year-old MC on the best run we've ever seen, maybe in music, for an artist his age, talking that shit anymore, because you don't even belong to this culture. So They are actually being intelligent for once, because they haven't been intelligent before, because the way this narrative is gone, you've been able to pull up on him and slander him and tear him down at a moment's notice. So I'm glad that they took notice and shut the fuck up.
And on that note, we should go to the next topic.
And now a moment and a word from our sponsors.
Right. So, 21 Savage got in a what are the shits called? What's that? The Clubhouse. Because don't nobody use that anymore, honestly, man. Clubhouse was popping for like maybe less than a month, man. And yeah, I didn't know people even still did that, especially since the Twitter spaces are open. So anyway, 21 Savage gets in a Clubhouse, and I guess they have a conversation about relevancy. And I don't know how Nas' name came up, but he said Nas wasn't relevant. But what was funny about it to me, once again, usual suspects, he said Jay-Z was relevant and Eminem was relevant. But Nas is not relevant. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get the Jay-Z thing, because, you know, Jay-Z's always out there in the news, whatever. And got the God Did verse, had MSNBC doing full breakdowns on it and stuff. Okay, cool, whatever. But tell me how Eminem's relevant in 2022 and Nas isn't, who just did a 25-city tour, sold out, very active, highly anticipated KD-3, executed on it, has Magic out there still floating, has films out there working heavy with Mass Appeal. What is Eminem actually doing?
A Nike commercial with LeBron James.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to see. This is the thing.
Whole Nike commercial with the biggest athlete on earth.
What does relevant mean?
With the biggest sports brand on earth.
Right. What does relevant mean? Because I've always taken relevant. I remember when MTV used to do that top 10 hottest rappers in the game list or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those are those buzzwords in the industry. Hottest, relevance. These are things you can't quantify, but these are tags that the industry can put on you to say that, yeah, this person deserves this, this, and this. Relevance doesn't even mean anything. Relevant to who? Because I would imagine that Nas was pretty relevant to the people that bought those tickets to go see him in Wu-Tang.
And the fact that he's about to sell out the Garden. So
exactly.
Listen.
And the fact that we know 21 Savage cannot sell out State Farm Arena, let alone the Garden in New York City.
Well, when I think of relevant, do you mind if I chime in?
Go ahead.
When I like to think of relevancy, Mike, I mean, and we do editorial, we do rhetoric, we do conjecture, we do forecasting, we do broadcasting, we do reviews, but mostly it's about the music. Mm-hmm. And so when you want to talk about what's relevant, well, let's talk about what's relevant. I think on this album, Mike, before we get into the J and the M things, and let's talk about the artist that he said wasn't relevant. On this album that he just dropped last Friday, Mike, I see a potential 7 singles on here. Mike, Legit, 30, Hood to Hood, Reminisce. Mike, the serious interlude with Mario, you could play that shit on the Quiet Storm right now. It fit right on in. WTF SMH, Get Light. I just named 7 records, Mike. That's what relevancy is to me. Is like, well, if you want to talk about relevancy the way that you're talking about it, he just made 7 joints that's ready for radio, in my opinion. And that's how I know radio is the problem, is because, I mean, 21 and Drake joint got 7 joints like the ones I just named?
I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either. And that's what they're kind of known for. It's like, shit, well, for what you do, supposedly, he more relevant than you are at what you do right now, because he got more shit that's single ready than you do. It's just these sorry-ass radio stations ain't playing it. But here's also the problem with that, too, is like, well, we all know this already, and so it's our response. The same way I pulled up on people, it's like, no, you got to pull up on radio the same way. It's like, yo, play Legit for me, Power 105. Yeah. Play Legit, 97. Play 30, like play these records, play Get Light. Like you got to pull up on them about it, because the reason that he's saying that Nas isn't relevant is just right back to the radio thing. And the radio thing is where most of the streams are created, outside of these bullshit ass streaming farms that people are not acknowledging.
Well, this is what I would ask him as well, because I find it very interesting that 21 Savage, he had a music video for Running where he was running around the hood and everything with his Grammy, right? So my question would be, well, are the Grammys relevant? And are the Grammys relevant to you? Because, I mean, with these nominations that artists are getting over the past couple of days, we've seen Glorilla going crazy over the fact she got nominated for the first time. Lotto's in tears. Well, let me tell you this. Like, Nas won a Grammy last year. So, which is it? And he performed at the Grammys this year. So how is that not? So are the Grammys irrelevant? I mean, because you're running around the hood and shit, passing everybody a Grammy, the one Grammy that you got, and you got it because J. Cole's on the song. Let's just be 100%. So which is it? I think people just be saying shit, man.
Well, Mike, let's go ahead and get to the part, because it's like, well, we don't got to talk about M, and we don't got to talk about J. We don't got to talk about Nas either. Let's talk about this nigga, because he looking like an agent out here, and he from Atlanta, and so we just gonna go pull apart.
He's from the UK.
Right. But where he say he from? See, this is what I'm saying, and this is where UK, I'm gonna tell you where I got tight. I'm gonna tell you.
He said he was the best rapper from the UK too. He said that too.
First of all, don't you ever say that again while Slick Rick existed. Like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard a UK rapper say. It's like, I'm the best rapper come out the UK, Slick Rick. Even if you're a Doom fan, you should say Slick Rick. Like, Slick Rick better than Doom. I don't care what you say. Like, period.
Well, both of them better than 21 Savage.
Well, it's not a question of that. But here's where the agent should go. I'm going to tell you, Mike. Remember when Wack was calling out 21? Mm-hmm. And asking him about his paperwork and stuff? And telling him that he might be the one that's responsible for all this shit that's going on down here that got brothers hemmed up? Wasn't that what he was alluding to?
It was.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard that, I ain't like the tone that Wack was taking with 21 initially, Mike. That's the Atlanta in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Game. I fuck with Wack, you know what I mean? And I be seeing how he move and shit. Mm-hmm. But, like, the Atlanta in me was like, yo, like, don't be taking tone with our folks like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't like it. But I heard what he was saying enough, like, to listen, and it just made me pause, Mike. Because Slick Rick's one of my favorite rappers. Mm-hmm. And I know that Slick Rick didn't get his citizenship until 2016, because since he committed that felony crime in 1990, they have been trying to deport him at every chance that they can and take his citizenship, including, Mike, they were waiting for him at the docks in Miami in 2002, getting off a Tom Joyner cruise ship where he was performing on. Mm-hmm. And and has been detained multiple times about his citizenship, even though he got naturalized in this state in the United States at 11 years old. So when I look at all the difficulties that MC Ricky D has gone through, Mike, and how I've grown up watching it happen to him.
Yeah.
And to see this man skate the way that he is skating, Mike, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't like that fucking shit at all. You look like an agent out here in these fucking streets. And you need to step your ass up like fuck that relevancy shit, nigga. Are you out here snitching like a weak ass nigga? Like, no, for real. Are you out here snitching to keep your visa? Doom had to be away from his family for 2 years. Mike, are you out here snitching, nigga?
Hey, let me get to the super chats real
Everybody
quick.
talking about no relevancy. Is you a snitch or not? Because you be walking around here repping the A. And you're not about to rep the A and be no snitch, nigga.
He reps the UK now.
So let's talk about if your ass is a snitch or not.
He be repping the UK now. CJ Kid with the super chat.
He better not rep the A till he clear up this snitch shit.
Hey, CJ Kid with the super chat says, you guys need to check the 3-letter man from PSA Hip Hop on his thoughts on KD-3. Man knows what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me catch up on these super chats so we can get on with this subject, man, because the disrespect, like you said, man, they should be applauding what Nas is doing. Brooklyn Kennedy with the super chat.
Let's talk about this nigga agent. Forget that relevancy conversation. It's like, you out here dropping dimes or not, nigga, we're going to apply the pressure to you. You want to walk up in Clubhouse all like it's all. How you end up with Drake? Remember I told you last week, I was like, listen to this album, make me wonder, like Free Gunna, Free Thug. Because how the fuck 21 get the Drake placement? Agent shit.
Brooklyn Kennedy with the super chat
this nigga
says,
paperwork. Quick, fast, in a hurry. I mean, all the nigga paperwork, his street paperwork. He been rapping about getting locked up, banging, calling niggas pussies and shit, talking about how he run up on niggas. No, nigga, if you was really running up on niggas and catching charges, your ass would be deported out this bitch. So what you doing?
That's a
now, either you a
statement.
street nigga. Now, is you a street nigga that's out here catching charges and doing what you say? Because if so, you would get deported.
Well, that's a good point. Brooklyn Kennedy with the super chat says, Nas always had a sense of humor. Please include NYC. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom.
Niggas' cases is disappearing, Mike. A nigga case disappeared.
It's crazy, right?
Sure, he says, since 1990, Mike didn't get naturalized. I want people to understand this. Slick Rick got locked up on second-degree attempted murder in 1990 by shooting his cousin, I think, in the foot, who had been threatening him and his pregnant girlfriend at the time and his mother, I believe, and literally has been fighting to maintain his citizenship in the United States until 2016, Mike, from 1990 to 2016.
Wow.
And this nigga just skating?
And his career was derailed.
Run up in the clubhouse and explain to us why you're not a snitch, nigga, and show us where your charges at. Let me see. I want to see the nigga felony charges now. I want to see him backing up this street shit he kicking now.
Shorey with the super chat says, from Old Town Road to KD-3, this kid is on fire. Oh, come on. It ain't the same person. Man, the chat is on fire today, man. Let me get to...
You understand what I'm saying, Mike? You understand what I'm saying?
What you're saying?
You want to sit up there, Mike, this is agent shit. When you want to sit up there and talk about somebody's relevancy, when first of all, is he gonna be here in 19 years at 49 years old? He's 30 now. Savage gonna be making music like Nas in 19 years? Then shut up. But since you want to talk, no, let's not talk about Nas. Let's talk about you and if you're an agent or not. How about that? We can have a whole conversation, include you. No, pull up in Clubhouse tonight and give us paperwork showing that you either use a street nigga and use authentic, or that you're not an agent, one or the other. But don't be pulling up talking about no relevancy and then backtracking your statements and shit because your card got pulled. You're not about
I guess
to
he thought everybody was just going to run with it.
No, you're not about to rep Atlanta and do this shit. That's what he's not about to do.
I just don't understand the whole, on what level are you saying that he's not relevant? I think what his quote was, kids ain't waking up listening to Nas. But again, hip-hop is about to be 50 next year. So kids don't just run the yard alone. Everybody's listening to everything. We listening to stuff that the kids are listening to, and the kids are listening to some of the stuff that we listening to. That's it. Hip hop has grown up. It's not 1995 where the only people that are listening to hip hop are the people under a certain age. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we like Corday and want him to win, don't we?
Yeah, and not even
Yeah.
just Corday. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just using him as an
Yeah.
example, Mike,
I like some of the
of a
stuff the
young
NBA
MC that's not
YoungBoy
even
does.
Mike. He's literally old. He's literally young enough to be our son.
Yeah, I like some of the
You know
stuff the
that?
NBA YoungBoy
I
does.
like some of the shit that he does. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yes.
Web Visibility says, for which song would you like Nas to do a video for off of KD3? That's a good question. You know where I'm at with this. I think either Get Light or I would like Legit, actually, or Thun. I'm naming a lot of songs.
That's what I mean. There's bangers that Mike. I didn't even bring up Thun in one of the singles because to me that's already like a street hood classic already.
Right.
Everybody in the streets playing Thun already.
Into You Jams with the super chat says, Coop talked about the WTF ASMH line in one of the streams. And at the, it just went away. He said, in one of the streams, and that beat had that Dilla feel. The line makes me sad. Yeah. Said that line makes me sad. Love Dilla, man. I wish Dilla was still here to do what he was doing. He still got beats floating around. It's incredible.
That's a nice connective thread, though. That the second part of that beat is very Dilla-like, and I mean that in the highest complimentary way to Hit Boy once again.
But yes, my thing is,
what
man,
I mean, I'm a fan of like doing 3 or 4 singles right now and just flooding the market right now because of how shit's going. I say do Legit, do Thun, do Get Light, and do 30. You know what I'm saying? And just go for yours. But that's just how I am with shit, though.
KD says, can y'all actually go through all of Ho's Grammys one day and determine whether they were deserved or not? Obviously not. Would be great content. I think that, all right, I'm going to be fair. I'm sure he's been nominated. I think that, okay, Beyonce's been nominated 9 times this year. And I think that made her tie with Jay-Z as the most nominations of all time. I think both of them have 88 nominations all time or something. But I'm sure he has lost a lot of them that he should have won and maybe won some that maybe he shouldn't have won. So it probably balances out. LP with the super chat
it's
says,
too much Grammy talk going on too. Like, I know you're going to get into this diatribe momentarily, probably, Mike. But you pointed out something very, very succinct about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They started off getting this right, and for the most part, were getting it right. And so we need to have a conversation about them, but we also do need to give them some credence and some respect and say at least they were getting it right. Mike, the Grammys ain't never been getting it right.
Never got it.
And that's why somebody asked me on Twitter what it was. I was like, oh, that's just trophy case shit. As in, like, it matters only in the sense of like if you want to go see the trophy case one day when they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, but in the respects of the here and now and how this culture exists, they've never really done right by us or gotten it right. And it took a whole pandemic for them to have their best real rap category probably in like 2 decades.
Yeah, because the mainstream people couldn't release.
So it might have been 25 years since they had a rap category that was that good, like with legitimate albums that belong there, and they still missed a couple of steps. And it's just not like that. It's like, and now you want to know how it's not like that? How many Grammys do Prince and Michael Jackson have?
I don't even know off the top.
Not enough, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Like, think about this. Like, Lauryn Hill got more Grammys than Prince. Like, do you think that makes sense?
It doesn't make sense. With all the work, and no disrespect to Lauren, but she got one album.
To Lauren. Yeah. Lauren will tell you she's not Prince, though, Mike.
But she got one album. She couldn't say she is. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying, like, she'd tell you, she'd be like, no, if I got 5, that guy deserved 50.
Yeah. LP with the super chat says, I think...
And she got more than 5, if I'm not mistaken, Mike. I think she got a couple of ancillary Grammys, like Turn Your Lights Down Low or some of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
LP says, I think that Pitch and Rolling Stone are not going to do a review. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think they are.
You know, sometimes silence is golden, Mike. Sometimes you're better off, you know. Like, I don't go places I'm not wanted. Shit.
But see, this is my thing, too, when it comes to the media and the way the media is handling this 21 conversation. They're being very nice to him, right? And, again, this is coming from somebody who likes some of 21's music. He knew what he was saying. He understood what he was saying. And the thing is, you cannot be a Nas fan, and that's fine. But you can't sit here and deny the work that's been put in and what that person is currently doing. Say he's not relevant to your circle. But to say he's just not relevant, period, and not being able to quantify that outside of the fact that kids ain't waking up listening to a 49-year-old MC, No, bro, that's not it. And you didn't even qualify, and that's why I brought up Jay-Z and Eminem. You didn't even qualify why you think they're relevant because kids ain't waking up listening to them. I know kids damn well ain't listening to Eminem when they wake up. Let's just be real. Ain't nothing to listen to.
It's what the ops do, Mike.
That sounds like some Asian-y stuff where it's like,
It
okay,
is very Asian. This is
are
not
you
the
sent
first
out here the
Asian
week of the
thing.
release? Are you sent out here the week of the release to go out there and put a term out there to be able to denigrate Nas with relevancy? No, you can't
Hold
even
on,
do
let's back
that.
up. Back up. Why aren't you doing the Clubhouse the week your album get released? Why are you doing it the week after when
It's
Nas'
weird.
shit is on the docks? You get what I'm saying? Very Asian like.
Jay Short
There's
with
a
the
lot
super
of niggas
chat.
down here. There's a lot of information, Mike, down here that done made its way in the hands of people, and people want to know how and why. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the
Like,
legitimate questions. Legitimate
like,
questions.
so why don't he? No. You want to talk about relevancy? No. Bring your ass out here on Front Street in front of us in Atlanta and explain to us why the fuck you free
Jay
on
Short.
some real shit.
Jay Short with the super chat says, we have to be
Relevancy.
100. Relevant to them means a term commanding a white audience and attention from white institutions and publications. Sorry,
Getting paid
not
by a
sorry.
white man to slander another black man, right? Agent.
I want to see what people have to say about this because I think we're finally caught up on this part of the conversation. Man, y'all are going in. Mad Max, this is who I want to hear
Snitch
from.
behavior.
I want to hear from Mad Max. He said, Yak voice. Bish, please. Nas is like eternally God's son. Forever 21 is a savage that reeks of hatred. Could have gifted the past a future unity, but out eulogizes King disease, still purveying the community.
Oh, he gonna get the word, Mike. He ain't gonna be talking about no relevancy. He gonna be out here like, and he better not be quiet either, Mike, because I'm gonna tell you what, if he don't come out and talk and make himself well known, not to be an agent, oh, you really gonna see me ride, Mike. So he
KD,
better start speaking up and prove that he's not an agent.
KD says, the way 21's deportation case just disappeared is just like the T.I. gun case from back around the BET performance, I think around 2009.
Very problematic.
It's weird. People got questions. I think they're legitimate questions. Like you said, we've seen this in hip hop before from the same country. And Slick Rick has been battling this for literally 20 years. They do not play with that type of stuff.
Mike,
CBS.
It took him 26 years to get his paperwork.
Yeah, and this is Slick Rick.
And this is Slick Rick. I want to see this nigga savage paperwork. I want to see your street paperwork. I want to see all that ice shit. I want to see where they let you off. I want to see why. If they haven't let you off, I want to know when your court date is. We'd love to come support you as long as you're not a motherfucking agent out here. Because niggas is locked up down here, Mike. And he keep doing agent things. And niggas is locked up down here. I'm going to say this again. It ain't just cats that you know that's locked up. No, a whole bunch of people is locked up because people is down here snitching. Mike, I be mindful of the shit that I say on here because we're a publication based out of Atlanta and something that we say as conjecture can be taken. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, nigga. Bring your ass out here into these streets and talk about your motherfucking paperwork, not no other rappers' relevancy. Let's see that relevant paperwork, nigga.
The relevant paperwork. CBF with the super chat says, what's the cost of a CD when 1,500 plays is one sale? I don't even know how they determine those things and how that even works out percentage-wise. But we can have that whole discussion, too, because I think we're going to talk about streams. KD also says, not mutually exclusive. Street dudes take Fed deals.
This is facts. That's what I'm saying is it's like, man, it's getting kind of fascinating.
We got another one. We got Ill Son says, they can't debate rhymes, flows, and beats, so they change the subject to relevancy and Grammys.
Right. And I'm changing the subject to you might be an agent, nigga. So let's stop talking about relevancy and let's talk about if you're an agent or not. I'm changing the subject.
Mad Max says, LOL, I'm younger than 21. I'm spinning Nas. And yeah, that's the thing too. Like 21's 30. Like you're not like super young, bro. Like I think most of the people just say you don't listen to Nas. And that's fine. But you're not gonna listen. I don't listen to Eminem like that. But for
Where
me
that
to act
paperwork from?
like Eminem can't go out there and sell out a show, I would be lying. Because he could. Michael Williams to the Super Chat says, Beef is one of the greatest songs Nas has ever written. It's haunting. The anti-violence message is profound. It's Nas's crowning moment on the KD run. And Hit Boy said that Nas didn't want to put it on there. He had to fight Nas to get it on there because Nas was out there comparing it to I Gave You Power. Said it wasn't as epic as that or something Hit Boy said.
I mean, it's not, but very few things in rap history have been.
That's a high standard to hold yourself to, right? Brian Gold with the Super Chat says, that's right, Coop. Send his ass on a store run and make him listen to Thun while he's at it.
No, he don't got to do none of that. It's like, no. This is what I mean is that if you're an agent and you were sent here to divert the conversation, well, I'm going to divert the conversation back to the fact that I think that you might have been sent to divert the conversation. Show your paperwork.
Eric Terrell says,
the best rapper out the UK.
The greatest.
On God, Mike. Right. On God.
Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, Mike, I love when you talk about him. Well, you're going to love my next segment. I got a doozy for
you. Look, with that, another word from our sponsor in transition.
Okay. Last week, Eminem was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've been talking about this since it happened, or at least since the nominees came out there, and I think Tribe was also nominated but didn't get in there. But it was funny to me, because I finally got around to listening to Eminem's speech, but it was funny to me that no one's really talking about, the ceremony. It's not like it was when Jay and LL got in there, even when Biggie got in there, Pac got in there. Like, it was like a celebration, but it was like nobody's really even sharing these pictures. It's kind of hard to even find some of the ceremony. But anyway, I finally got to it, started listening to it, and his speech was odd to me, Coop, because it literally felt like he went on Wikipedia and started listing a whole bunch of rappers and groups in alphabetical order. And it was weird. It was like, wait a minute. This is just like alphabetical order, because he started with 2 Live Crew, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then it starts going down. It's like he's just literally naming a bunch of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Mike. I'm not even gonna lie. While you're saying all this, I'm thinking to myself, I told Mike about this shit 2 weeks ago. You footnoted this, Mike, and waited till you had time to go and watch for yourself, which you almost never do, Mike. It's been 2 weeks. Go back in.
Well, the thing is, man, let's just keep it a buck. I'm not saying that Eminem doesn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, period. He doesn't deserve to be in there now, and when we're looking at what Nas has just done, at this point in his career, and he's been in this game since 94, and I think you and I have talked about this on previous episodes. This isn't just a hip-hop feat. This is an overall music feat. Like, you're not going to find somebody in any genre that is making this level of elite material at this point in their career. Now, Nas has been eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since what? 94, like 2019?
19.
Right? Okay. No nominations that I know.
Been eligible for how long, Mike? It's not just Nas, Tribe, Snoop.
Yes, and that's where I was gonna go. Now,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. I was just gonna say, they didn't put Tribe in, but what I want to know is, how does M get in there before Snoop Dogg? I just don't understand. Like, what are the qualifications? Snoop Dogg is an icon, and I think you've said that you feel like Snoop is hip-hop's first superstar. You got the Dre connection, because Dr. Dre's at every Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony. This man is the Chronic. He's half of the Chronic. Let's just say that. The Chronic is just as much of his album as it is Dre's, right? Doggy Style. Everything else that goes after it, he's a cultural icon, a cultural piece. How does Snoop Dogg not get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and been eligible since, 2018? And Eminem gets in early. It's insane.
He is literally our definition of what a star is in rap. Literally, on every level.
There's not a person out there. You can go to people's grandma. You can go to people's kids. You say the name Snoop Dogg, they know who you're talking about.
Everybody knows Snoop.
There's not a person on this earth. You have to find people that are like North Sentinel Island or something that don't know who Snoop Dogg is. You know what I mean? And the music matches that. And it's very weird to me that we just let this induction happen without anybody saying anything about it like it's okay. And again, it's not really about getting a pat on the head or anything, but like Coop said earlier, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they started this thing off doing it right. They got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five in there first. Boom. Accuracy. Then they came Run DMC. Boom. Accuracy. Beastie Boys next. Boom. Accuracy. Public Enemy. Boom. Accuracy. They skipped over LL, and I've been campaigning about the fact they needed to get that right for years. They eventually got that right. But after Public Enemy, NWA. Boom. Accuracy. So at this point, we're holding you to a standard while the next people need to be either Tribe, Wu-Tang, or Snoop. Am I missing anybody? And I think, and when they put, because they put Pac in next, and I think Pac belongs in that group too because he came out in 90. But when Biggie got inducted, Nas should have been inducted with Biggie, and that's just real. First year eligibility, there's no reason why Biggie gets in there and Nas doesn't get in there, and that's just point blank period. And the way it's going to look in the history books, our grandkids are going to look back at this and look at how accurate that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have been since the beginning, and then they're going to see Eminem's name in there, and they're going to be like, well, shit, that's accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the dangerous part about it. And that's why people shouldn't just sit there and let this happen like it's cool. It's not cool. And like I said, it's not like he doesn't deserve to be in there at all. But he does not deserve to be in there over Tribe or before Tribe, before Wu-Tang, before Ice Cube as a soloist, before Snoop Dogg, and before Nasir. He doesn't. He does, and I don't care what y'all say. And it's problematic.
I mean, see, and here's what's not about to happen.
And I don't care what he says either. Not to interrupt you. I want to get this out before you stop.
No, please.
Dolly Parton, she got inducted. And you know what Dolly Parton did? She gracefully declined. And if he really felt all that shit he was saying about all those people that he printed out on the page in alphabetical order, he could gracefully decline to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and say, you know what? I appreciate it. I know I'm going to get in eventually, but I don't need to be getting in right now. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a bunch of lip service when you go up there trying to give people props, but you sitting here taking flowers that you don't deserve yet. It is what it is. Like, it sounds good, but you accepted it.
I think the key phrase, the key word in what you just said in that last phrase, though, was yet. And I think that's the problem. It's not, and I want people to be clear about this because I know how sometimes we can get misquoted on here, mostly me more than you because I talk more. But you're not saying that he's not deserving.
No.
You're saying he's not deserving yet because there are people that came before him whose resume and catalog speaks that they should have been first-time entries and thereby entries before you. And that is very accurate. And that's why I was saying I don't want you to rant this, to call this a rant, because what you're really saying is that, well, you're not undeserving. You just don't deserve to go in before these people. And Mike, we have evidence of that. We have the low-end theory. Doggy Style, The Chronic, Deep Cover, Enter the Wu-Tang, Illmatic. It was written. Like, we have these things before you were even a thought in the hip-hop sphere that these artists should be canonized that are Hall of Fame worthy for those contributions in addition to what they did after. And quite frankly, some strings got pulled for you to get bumped up to the line and you didn't wait your turn, and it's wrong.
You allowed it to happen, you know?
Not saying you're not deserving at some point, but the way that it's happening and who's getting put to the back and the way you're getting put to the front. And Mike, and this is what I mean. And so I'm going to circle back around on this right quick, and then I'm going to let you have it because I know this is more your thing than mine too.
No, that's cool.
No. Mike, are you surprised that's happening?
No, I'm never
Right,
surprised.
exactly. That's why when people was pulling up on me about the Kyrie stuff, I'm like, you surprised it's happening?
But that
Because you
doesn't make it
understand it's the
all
same.
right,
It's,
though.
it's the same people controlling. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when people be like, "Oh, I'm surprised that happened," it's like, I'm sorry. Like, where have you been the last 300 or 400 years? Like 500 years? Like, I mean, would you like? Can I hand you a book or two that maybe might educate you on how things really work in this nation?
But see, that's why I said what I said about Dolly Parton. She actually was able to gracefully decline. The ball was in his court to
No, I'll give you that
gracefully
about
decline.
Dolly.
As a hip hop head and as a person who loves the culture in that way, as he says he does, which I
Oh,
believe, he had the ability to really just say, yo, I'm going to wait, pass that down to Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? Because
Dolly,
really,
hold on.
without Snoop Dogg, I'm not here. Without Snoop's
Dolly is
input on the Chronic, I'm not here.
fair, but Dolly is also beloved in her genre. Like Andrew and I on Mirror Music actually did a Dolly Parton song. It's from the "I Will Always Love You" album that Whitney Houston took.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she got some banging shit on there, Mike. Dolly
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
But no, she is.
She a legend. Yeah.
No.
Icon.
She is. She's a legend. But Andrew spoke when we were talking about Dolly about how beloved she is in her sphere of community, in her genre, because of how she moves. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not Dolly. You know what I'm saying? He's not Dolly in terms of how he's revered in this sphere. And he has never been Dolly with him. Like, he's never been somebody that's been a spokesperson for this. You get what I'm saying? Like, Dolly's been a spokeswoman for her genre. Pretty much for women in general in a lot of ways, too. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he's not that. And so Dolly declined. Oh, Dolly can decline. Like, she's going to be queen forever, whether she accepts or decline. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have that. And so he can't afford to say no the way that she can respectfully. That I will give him. But I understand what you're saying. It's like, oh, no, he's not Dolly. Like, and that's where people have him fucked up. It's like, I want you to understand, Dolly Parton is more beloved and more heralded and a better musician pound for pound than he could ever pray to be, Mike. He's overrated in that regard because I think to white people who call themselves hip hop heads, they look at him on a Dolly Parton level. It's like, oh, no, fam. He's not that. He's not that.
Well, this is what I would say. I would say that what's happening right now is these unearned benefits that he's getting and that people are seeing that he's getting is actually hurting his legacy more than it's helping. I think that if he were to sit there and be like, and make
Jolene, that's the song. I'm sorry, Kaya David just brought up the song. Jolene, Kaya, that was the song that we covered on Mirror Music. I was like, yo, I hit Andrew up. I was like, yo, Andrew, I was like, this shit fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Mike, I'm sorry. Like, this is what I mean. If Eminem doesn't have an album even like that album that has Jolene and I Will Always Love You, like none of his hip hop albums play like that Dolly album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she different.
I think he's doing himself a disservice, though. But I think if he would have made a grand gesture of saying, no, it's not my time yet, I think that goes further for his legacy than sitting there accepting an award that you know you don't deserve now more than a Tribe, Wu-Tang, Snoop, Ice Cube, or Nas. No matter how you cut it, I don't care who you're a fan of, there's nobody that can make an educated, actual argument that he deserves to be in that hall more than Tribe, Wu-Tang, Nas, or Snoop, or Ice Cube. You can't make that argument.
And Snoop is just the one just on star power and notoriety alone.
Yeah, because if it's about record sales, what is it about? Is it about cultural impact? Is it about being a rock star? Nobody's more of a rock star than Snoop.
Snoop is chilling on the beach doing Corona commercials currently every time I see him, Mike.
And if you want to talk about network, he's the closest thing to Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you mention Dr. Dre's name, what's the next name you mention? It's going to be Snoop.
Well, I mean, Mike, and I believe we brought this up. What does Dr. Dre's catalog look like when you take Snoop out of it? It's not the same, though, is it?
It's not the same. It's
not the same.
No, it's not. Rakasha, says Bob Marley never won a Grammy while alive. This is how I know the Grammys mean shit. By the way, congratulations on the 10,000 Thanks to A2HH, One Love. Yeah, appreciate that. We didn't even say that
Oh yeah,
yet.
we didn't even say nothing. Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to us for getting to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, shout out to you
And
guys
like
for
the page,
subscribing.
yeah, we appreciate all of y'all for following us on this journey. We're very blessed and fortunate. We got here in about 15 months, Mike.
Yeah,
Not bad.
not
Not
bad.
bad for a startup coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, talking about this shit that started in the Mecca.
Yeah, just talking about hip hop. We don't even play music. V
Oh,
Guns
we
with the
about to
super
be on
chat.
station head now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're about to
These
do that.
DJs are in so much trouble, Mike. They should have never gave niggas like us playlists and music. These
Right.
motherfuckers ain't gonna have jobs in a couple of years if I have my way about it. They better start rating, doing shit right, and playing the songs they supposed to play because we're about to. You can pull up on my station head, pull up on the Recording the Hip Hop station head, and we definitely, like Mike, that little midday mix you did for our 10,000 subscribers, Mike, I was in the kitchen making myself lunch. I was jamming to the shit. You was calling me in. I was taking it off mute. I'm right here, Mike. That's great.
Nah, that's fun. V
It was
Guns with
fun.
the super chat says KD3 is straight fire, straight classic. Can't believe it's only projected to do 27,000 the first week. I don't believe those numbers, but you know, this is the thing. I do want to speak to those numbers really quickly. And me and Coop were talking about this offline, and I've been saying this in previous show. It's always funny to me that the people that the mainstream media don't really love that much seem to get these low numbers. Like, I don't believe that the baby did the numbers they say he did. I don't believe that the game did the numbers that he said he did. Just off of the Black Slim Shady alone, the fact that everybody listened to that song, and even if you don't like the record, and I know a lot of y'all didn't like the record, but you listened to it, right? How did it not actually chart? That's weird. It is. I don't know. I think that one thing that I guess I can conclude from this, maybe radio play and the fact that these mainstream radio stations are playing some of these artists over and over and over again, maybe that is what attributes to these streaming numbers on a high level. Because nothing else makes sense. I don't see how this album is projected to do 28,000 with the buzz that it has. You have everybody talking about this from the top to the bottom, whether they like it or not. You know.
So I'm going to engage in a little conjecture here because I'm not sure how solid it is. But it appears to me, like you were saying, when you take somebody like the baby who was doing like over 100K.
Like 200 something K.
Right. Okay. So let's just cut it off and say he's doing 150K first week. Right?
Right.
And that 150K turns to 22K.
Something's going on.
First of all, there's a poison going on, to quote the most controversial and arguably one of the, well, not a question, but arguably the greatest rap group ever. Like people like Mike, the whole Public Enemy versus thing made me think. It's like, no, they're still in that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And to quote Public Enemy, you can't trust it.
Right.
And because here's what's going on, and maybe I'm wrong, and a lot of this is just conversations with the plug. And when somebody hits me off with information, I like to do my own digging. I consider myself to be, somewhat intellectual and knowledgeable and able to process information. It appears to me that if you have a radio station like Hot 97, and they are making a choice to not play somebody like the baby on a younger demographic scale, or Nas, and let me tell you what that looks like in places like Alabama, Mississippi, in Tennessee, in Florida, in South Carolina for the baby, which were probably formerly hubs where he was getting a lot of airplay and a lot of love, Mike. Let's say in each one of those towns, in those cities, those major cities in those areas, like a Columbia, South Carolina, or Jackson, Mississippi, or Nashville, Tennessee, the baby was getting 1,500 spins a day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in that demographic market, about 2,500 people a day were listening. And you do the math on that, and he's getting 5,000 streams a day out that one market.
Right.
And then you take Hot 97, and they cut his water off in those markets. Well, there you have it. You get what I'm saying?
Right. And I mean, because even with Station Head, right, that kind of opened my eyes to a lot. And the fact that on Station Head, when we were doing our streaming party, for every one of y'all that was in there, that counted for an individual stream for that song. So say we have 400 people in there. When I play Thun, that counts as 400 streams for that, right? So I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, well, How is that any different when it comes to mainstream radio? And the fact that they're playing people like Lil Baby over and over and over, that has to count to the streams. Not to mention the syndicated radio shows, right? So what about those radio shows like Power 105's Breakfast Club or whatever that is in like, I don't know how many markets they're in. They got to be in like at least like 30 markets. So just with that alone, that's adding to these inflated streaming numbers that make certain people's first weeks look crazy on one end and make other people's first weeks look crazy on the other end. I don't know if it's a clear indicator.
So I'm going to tell you what, Mike. Sorry, we got some spam in the chat. I'm just getting it out right quick.
Do your thing. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna get to it in 1 second. Let me do
your thing. I'm gonna get to the super chat.
Super chats while I get this out because I want to do some quick arithmetic.
Okay. Ill Son with the super chat says, "Did you see the Mass Appeal post about KD playlist? 9 total songs, total 3 of each album. What songs y'all got?"
I was thinking about doing one. It has to be done by 9 o'clock tonight.
Got to do one of those. Let's see. KD with the super chat says, "It's performative BS. Eminem knows his respect as an MC is wavering with more trash music he puts out, so he's pandering to get on people's good sides." I mean, that's what it appears to be. Like, nobody else has to go out there and go down alphabetical order all the rappers and rap groups that ever existed in the genre. You know what I'm saying? No one else has to do that.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, here goes some more super chats here.
I'm going to let you finish your super chats and I'm going to get to the math.
Okay, we're going to get to the math. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Not defending Savage, but I think that his comments struck a chord because we know deep down hip-hop failed Nas somewhat. If we had rolled for Nas earlier, like M fans for him, he'd be in the forefront and have this accolades." And that's why we're doing this now. And I know for a lot of people,
we're doing this now because we weren't in position when those things were happening, but we are now. So it's time to change that narrative.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people think that maybe we're sitting here, crying and, pleading about certain things. No, we're just talking about how it is and the fact that, we're getting everybody on the same page. And if you disagree, that's fine. You can disagree. But some of this stuff looks a little shaky. Marquez Davis in the super chat says Rakim should be in there too. Like, come on, people. Rakim, the guy who inspired everyone. And, listen, Rakim's my favorite MC personally. But if the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in their quote-unquote criteria, don't look at Eric B. and Rakim in the same way that we do culturally, I mean, that's what we got the hip-hop, Hall of Fame coming up for. But you can't sit there and say that same shit about Snoop. You can't.
You just can't.
Tell me what qualifications Snoop doesn't meet when it comes to getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not even talking about on some hip-hop shit, just on some music shit, period. Snoop Dogg might be the most famous rapper ever. And then he got the music to match it, too.
Mike.
And the persona, and the longevity.
You understand between the Chronic and Doggy Style in the early 90s, that's almost 10 million records sold. Exactly. Like in a time when niggas was struggling to do platinum. Yeah. Like literally struggling to get to 1 million. Like if you got to 1 million, you were a gangster and a legend. And this nigga is doing 4 on the Chronic and 5 on Doggy Style.
He was doing numbers before anybody was doing numbers. I mean, he was doing numbers that exceeded what the Beastie Boys was doing. And he did it on some gangster shit. Not on some crossover, singy song shit. Not, no knock to that, but I'm just saying. That just shows you the strength.
Mike, I'm pretty certain you can go pull up LL's albums before Doggy Style came out, and the record sales on all of those albums is about equal to what Doggy Style sold. I don't think niggas understand.
Not to mention the Chronic, too. I mean, Mike, those two records made Death Row Records. Like, if we look at Death Row Records catalog or discography, there's only like 5 or 6 albums, really. Like, that whole movement is the Chronic and Doggy Style. And then you got All Eyes on Me to finish it off.
And you got Dog Food in the middle.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To be honest with you, almost all of their greatest hits is literally Murder Was the Case soundtrack, The Chronic, Doggy Style, Dog Food, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
Machiavelli, NSYNC.
Yeah, that's it. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Would love to see you prove. Would love to see you prove together the original I Am for the anniversary. I guess pull together and play it on the station head."
Now that I'm with that. I'm with the little 25th I Am anniversary celebration, a little bar seminar for I Am.
Well, we would have to pull together. I mean, is all that stuff out on streaming platforms though? That's the thing.
Does it have to be on streaming platforms to play on station head?
It does, yeah. That's the problem. We might have to do that on a Patreon or something where we could pull from anything.
So, okay, that's fascinating.
Mad Max with the super chat says, shit, why is this sitting here? My bad. Mad Max says, labels pump up artists with fake streams. Cole's been saying they do that a lot behind the scenes. Only time I'm a reference 21. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, not to mention the stream farms and all of that stuff. And I think that the radio stations are piling on top of these actual stream numbers. But I don't think that this quote-unquote number is a reflection of what's going on out there as far as people's interest in as it concerns to KD3. I don't.
See, but this is what I mean. So let's just take something like... Let's take The Baby, and The Baby drops a single, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the platform that he's on is used to getting 4,000 streams based on the people, Mike, a day. And like you said, it's in a platform like a Hot 97 where it's in like 32 of the major markets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike,
it's a big cut.
If he can get 4,000 streams in 32 cities, Mike, that's 128,000 streams a day.
Yeah. That's somebody just pressing a button. Like literally, if you and I were in a station head, session or whatever, broadcast, and we let's say had like 40,000 people in there, and we're sitting here going through this playlist, and these people are getting 40,000 streams every time we hit whatever. If this one artist pissed us off and we said, nah, not playing him, because they be playing these artists like 20 times a day. Like every time you turn on the radio, and I rarely turn on the radio, but whenever you do turn on the radio, it be the same songs on. That's what's happening here. That's why these numbers are so inflated.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean, Mike. And I
Taylor
was just thinking
Swift,
about what you're saying. Yeah. So to do station head, you have to have your music pretty much on a streaming platform, right?
Right.
Well, that's a great opportunity for us to help promote local artists in this city too.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do as well.
We got to do that. Shout out to Web Visibility with the $50 super chat. I'm showing super love. He said, M could have used the rock and roll induction as an opportunity to speak to his fans about how he's benefited from white privilege as a teachable moment. That would have been really impactful coming from him as opposed to a black artist.
Why would he do that when he's gotten so much from not doing stuff like that?
That's the thing. I see what Web Visibility
doing that.
I see what Web Visibility's saying. He's like, if all of these things that he's saying is so genuine, why don't you just go ahead and address the elephant in the room? You got in before these guys because of your complexion. Let's just be real. You got in. I don't even want to say these guys. Let's just say Snoop Dogg.
It is a connection thing, Mike.
What's different? What's the difference between his connection in the game and Snoop Dogg's connection in the game?
Oh, they don't own Snoop and Game the way they own him. Straight like that.
Okay.
You just straight up and down. I mean, I don't know how else to express it to you. I'm pretty sure there's some paperwork that'll show you that too.
Well, I'm all caught up on the super chat.
Because this damn sure ain't about to be no relevancy episode. It's a paperwork episode. Everybody remember this episode. This is the paperwork episode.
The paperwork episode. You know what? I'm all the way caught up on the super chats. We actually got another one. Rigger 49er says, Pac is the most famous rapper in history. It's not even close. Everyone in the world knows who Pac is and listens to his music more than anyone else. Listen, I won't gripe with you on that. I think that the debate is Snoop, Pac, Kanye, and M. I think those are the four most famous rappers ever. But I will say this. When Tupac was alive, Snoop Dogg was more famous than Tupac. And that's just the truth. He was.
More,
It is
not
what it
more
is.
popular.
He was.
Being famous and being popular are two different things. He was more famous, but not more popular. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tupac hit people on a different level, bottom
Right.
line. But when it comes to, Pac coming to death row, that was more of a free agent acquisition. In that situation, Snoop Dogg was D Wade, while Pac was LeBron.
Has an MC on some MC shit, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just saying from some on a popularity level, that might have been different. LP with the super chat says M should have mentioned every rapper he skipped. Yeah, that, you know what? I'm with you. That would have been more powerful. Forget a whole
Yes.
book of every rapper that ever exists. You should have just said Tribe, Snoop, Cube, Wu-Tang, Nas. That's it.
Well, see, here's the thing about it, Mike. And this is where they kind of lost course. I think maybe around that time that you're putting in Public Enemy and NWA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to follow that up with some KRS-One and Rakim. And here's the thing about it. See, now you're getting into a little bit too much pro-blackness for them. They don't mind offsetting NWA with Public Enemy.
You're right.
But you got to start doing KRS-One and Rakim.
Well, especially since Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Nobody's equal. Like, the shit that these dudes kicking is positive and different. And so there might be some submersion going on where they made a choice. It's like, oh, let's just go to somebody more fun that's insightful. Like, I don't know, Tupac.
You know what? I think you're right, though. And I'm giving them a pass because if they got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 in there, there's really no reason they shouldn't have Eric B. and Rakim in there, to be real. I mean,
but
I shouldn't be giving them that pass.
But when when the God get in, KRS, Kane, G-Rap, Slick Rick, now you got to be on some rap shit, Mike.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to be on no rap shit. They wanted to be on some notoriety shit.
They had to change course because they started it from a foundational, section. But
you have to understand, those foundational sections, Mike, were some of the people who moved the records and moved the meter too.
Mm-hmm.
Beasties, Run DMC, Public Enemy, NWA. Those are all platinum groups, Mike.
Impact is heavy. Beastie's impact is heavy. We don't talk about Beasties enough.
You and I had a Beastie sidebar back in conversation. We're like, man, I love those guys. I have no problem with them contributing to the culture. Don't you ever say that I'm such and such about people. I love Beastie.
No, listen. NWA's early sound is straight Beasties. It is what it is.
Straight Rick Rubin.
Yeah. And I didn't even talk about that from a rapping standpoint. The flow, the cadence. The way that Ice Cube was writing for Easy and the way Ice Cube was delivering on some of their early stuff was very Beastie influenced. When you listen to 8 Ball, that's like a black version of Brass Monkey, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So the Beasties, their influence is heavy. Not to mention that MCA actually is the person that found LL and called him up and brought him to Rick Rubin. So yeah, I have no problem with the Beasties.
Jockin' Mike D to my dismay.
Oh, yeah, and of course, the whole Mike D thing. Shit.
Right.
Jermaine Young with the super chat. Yeah, I have no problem. Shout out to the real Mike D, if you want to say it like that. Jermaine Young with the super chat says KD-3 is currently at a 93 on Metacritic. Its highest rating of a hip-hop album this year, and the second highest rating overall behind the Beatles. Wow. Well, we'll see how it continues on. I think, how many people have rated it at this point? I like Metacritic because I like the fact that everybody kind of gets to go in and collectively, have their rating system. Because they take it from all the major publications.
I like Metacritic, but you have to understand when you include in Metacritic, you're including people that aren't as informational and observational and knowledgeable about our culture.
Well, I thought that they just took all of the averages of the major publications that write a review or something.
But that would be Pitchfork and Rolling Stone.
Right.
And Fader getting included in all those things. It's very problematic.
LP says Fat Coop.
Outkast, boy, all you got to do is to throw Outkast on an album, though they'll give it a 90.
See, that's the thing. Outkast caters to so many that their ratings are out of this world. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody fucks with this shit.
Bombs over Baghdad.
Right. LP with the super chat says Fat Coop, Run DMC, NWA, Beasties, Public Enemy had rock influence. KRS-One and Rakim was straight rap and funk. They wasn't trying to honor that.
They went
Very
on the rap
interesting.
shit. That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of honors, we can get to our last segment because we're all caught up with the super chats and whatnot. You hear about the fact that the Grammys have rolled out their nominees? Are you excited about that?
I never am. This is no different.
All right, well, this is what happened.
Get off my lawn.
Kendrick Lamar is the most nominated male artist at the Grammys with 8 nominations. And Beyonce is the most nominated female artist with 9 nominations. What say you about this?
So people out here making mid get nominated the most is what you just told me.
It seems like, and I say this respectfully because I'm a fan of both of these artists, it seems like these artists just had to put out an album and they got nominations.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I just heard.
They're nominating people and not the music, sounds like.
That's what it looks like. We'd like to thank you both. We'd like to thank you both for coming back off hiatus.
Yeah, lackluster
Did you tell me that the Heart Part 5 got nominated like 3 times or something?
I think so. Hold on, let me see. I think the Heart Part 5.
Don't stop. Like Mike, you know, we already had a crack cocaine epidemic. Are people back on crack again? It's like you can't just like do cocaine and like can these Hollywood people like not just do cocaine? Are they back on crack?
Well, here's the category you're talking
things
about.
That cocaine does.
Best rap song nominees are Churchill Down, Jack Harlow featuring Drake, God Did, DJ Khaled featuring Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, John Legend, and Friday. The Heart Part 5, Kendrick Lamar. Pushin' P, Gunna, Future, and Young Thug. And Wait For You, Future featuring Drake and Tim. Who do you think is going to win that?
The only good song on there is Pushin' P, so Pushin' P should win.
I hope Pushin' P's win.
Free Thug, so we don't have agents working with Drake again.
You know what? I like the Future song, but I don't feel like that's a rap song, really. You know?
I don't feel like any of those songs are good except for Pushin' P. I'm going to pick the good song.
I think that the Future song is good. You don't like Wait For You? Wait For You's dope. I mean, it plays on the radio all the time, but I don't think it's a rap song like that. Pushin' P is the only rap song that I think deserves it. I know a lot of people are going to say God Did, but I feel like God Did had a hot week and just kind of went away. Churchill Down, you know, I'm going to get on my Jack Harlow statements in a minute, but that got no play. And the Heart Part 5 was hot for like 2 days, guys. And so we're left with...
You know what the best part about the Heart Part 5 is?
What's that?
It didn't get watered down in the midst of all that other mid on his album. At least it got to separate itself and get some shine. Because the rest of it's some mid. And it's not Grammy worthy, Mike. That song's not like that, Mike.
Well, the thing is, for them to actually take the Heart Part 5 and nominate it a few times, that lets you know how weak the album is. I hate to say it like that, but you know,
it's not good. Why are people like keep running for it or ducking from it? Like Kendrick ain't about to like pop up and bang on us for saying it. He know it's not good too, or he wouldn't be talking about making another album so fast for the first time in his goddamn career. He knows it's not good too.
I think this further validates the things that you've been saying about this album, you know, since it pretty much came out. He puts out, it's the Heart Part 5, so he puts out a heart every time. They have never been nominated for Grammys. And it's not like this one is just much better than the rest of them or whatever. It lasted for like a couple of days. And they couldn't find anything to justifiably... The only other song they could have justifiably put out there was the song with Kodak. And they don't want to give Kodak no Grammys. They don't. They don't want to give Kodak no Grammys. Ain't no telling what Kodak can say up there.
No, when you talk about an album...
And shout out to Kodak, too, for standing up for Nas against this nonsense.
Yeah, I saw that. I told you, we like Kodak. We fuck with Kodak. Kodak, another one of them young dudes that I like, that I support. Look here. When we have to talk about how good the visual aid is, Mike, or how great the writing is, what do I keep on saying? People just don't listen. It's like, no. When you have to use those things to describe music, that means the music isn't there. Well, you know, he debuted at number 1. Did you see the video? It's like, yeah, I saw the video. Did you hear the song?
We getting some thumbs down. They hate when we talk about Kendrick.
Don't
Marquez
nobody
Davis.
care. You want to know what? I give that album some thumbs down. It won't be making no top 10. Mike, right now, when I look at our albums of the year, don't be expecting to see no Kendrick on the list. That shit is not good.
For the Kendrick fans out there, do y'all really feel like he deserved 8 nominations at any award show? Forget the Grammys. And let's just be real, guys. The Grammys is really on some crossover, watered down music stuff. Do you think any of the material on this album fits the decorum for what you're used to seeing at this award show to be nominated 8 times?
Look here. I'm gonna tell you what, Mike. When I first started talking to the plug 6 weeks ago, she told me the Grammys was gonna be fucked up for real music.
Marquez Davis with the super chat says they take all the average Metacritics. They take all the averages in Metacritic. Nas has 6 reviews so far, hundreds, 93 overall. Like an 8th highest rap album. Let's see. Rigger 49er says, I know people in the hood still listen to Pac more than Snoop. I agree with that. A lot of people, a lot of people I know don't mess with Snoop. Pac's movies, music, more talented, more fame.
Okay. Like, how about this?
I'm with that. I'm okay with that.
Funny. Like, I'm not being funny, Mike. Like, Steph Curry's a better player than Dame Lillard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the neighborhood, Mike. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. In the neighborhood, that play is different. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. Jay Short with the super chat says, when you mention 2 Live Crew as an influence, we know you faking and pandering. They were a novelty act. Heads wasn't checking for them like that. 2 Live Crew is an interesting situation, man. When people talk about the greatest rap groups of all time, it's like, how do I and how can I rate them? You know, because it's not like they rapped. It's more of an impact conversation, and it's all based on impact for the most part.
Did they make 3 albums?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they only made 2, Mike. You got to at least make 3 to get in the convo, and then 3 ain't gonna hold you long in the convo.
Because it's like, do you want to put 2 Live Crew over Goody Mob or something? Because it just doesn't feel right to do stuff like that.
I'll say that. See, and now we have to be mindful. It's like, well, if we want to put 2 Live Crew up high, what type of messages are we sending when there is a Goody Mob that made something socially impactful?
Or a Brand Nubian. Do you want to put 2 Live Crew over Brand Nubian? Like,
no, I do not.
It just doesn't feel right.
Well, they're not better than Brand Nubian either.
No.
And I'm not a big Puba fan, and I'll say that. But Sadat X, Lord Jamar, Puba, I don't know. That's nice.
Puba's crazy with it. Mad Max with the super chat says, Whack Harlow being nominated is wild, and K-Dot Rich Spirit video, he needs to learn how to dance. He is embarrassing with the moves. Did you see the video he put out?
Yeah, I saw it.
Nothing to talk about?
I mean, it's late. The song's not good. The album's not good. I'm tired of people trying to force this album on me and tell me that it's good. Every time I ask, like, how about this? The plug told me something about Nas. Nas will ask you, like, if you roll up on Nas, like, as a fan, and, like, ask Nas, you know what I'm saying? Be like, what did I say to make you a fan that impacted you or affected you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nas will ask you that. I'm going to ask that question to all people supporting Kendrick on this level. What has he said on this album that's really impacted or affected you and what's going on with you like that? Like, it's very blatant and obvious to me how he's been impacted and affected. Like, a nigga that has money to pay for therapy sessions every day of the week decided to have a therapy session with us on a whole album. That's fine. That's your prerogative. Kudos to you for getting all of your demons out. What does that do for you as the listener? Like, what did he really just do with this album, Mike? Like, seriously. Like, because I don't have to sit up there and get all big, bold, and boisterous or even use big words. Like, what did he really do with this album? Where did he take our culture? Where did he take you? What journey is he going on where you're experiencing with him and you're saying, like, damn, I can relate? Because Tupac does that. DMX does that. Scarface does that. Nas does that. Like, don't tell me that this guy just did that on this album when I can show you albums from artists who actually really did it and gave you a quality product that you could replay. Now get a grip and stop telling me that this album is good. It's not.
Well, Charlamagne the God said it's the most important hip-hop album of all time. So,
Mike, isn't that the same nigga that said he would sell his soul, though?
No, the direct quote is, back in the day before the Breakfast Club became syndicated in every household, a household name, for lack of a better term, he used to always say on air, "I can't wait to sell out because that means somebody bought in." That's what he used to say.
So he sold his soul. Like I said, you can try to frame it nicely for him if you want to.
I just want to get the direct quote. I want to get the direct quote.
No. Now that we got to the direct quote, let's get the Coop's interpretation. You'll sell your soul, so I can't trust you.
Jay Short, the super chat says,
I can't trust a man that'll tell you that he'll sell his soul, Mike, not when I can't be bought.
Say, I can't wait to sell out because that means someone bought in. I'm sure people out there who've been watching The Breakfast Club forever remember him saying that too. I'm not the only one that heard that.
Like you can buy things that I offer, Mike, but you can't buy me. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He talking about being bought like he on an auction block. I can't wait because that means you.
That means somebody bought in.
You happy to get up there and show Massa how big and strong and strapping your back is? Now, isn't you?
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Is Mary J. Blige the Nas of R&B? Beyonce stealing awards?" That's an interesting statement. I could see that. I think that we take Mary for granted. I think we take Mary's longevity and, just overall impact for granted sometimes because she's always been here. We never really had to be on a Mary break.
Might be some evidence. We might need to pull up and check up on that, Mike. Might be some evidence there.
Mary's catalog is crazy.
In fairness, though.
Do you think that Beyonce would beat Mary J. Blige in the verses? Because I don't think so.
Oh, no. Listen to what I'm telling you. I was about to say, Mary's first 4 albums is like better than everything Beyonce did, in my opinion. But first 4.
Do you think Mary would beat Mariah in the verses?
She tapped that ass, Mike.
That's saying a lot. Mariah's an icon, and she got iconic music.
And I love Mariah.
I think Mary's music hits people.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. She tapped that ass.
Yeah.
Because you be feeling some type of way. It's like Mariah gonna play Shake It Off. Mary's playing I'm Going Down.
And not
the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Not the same. You're gonna get that ass tapped.
Yeah, My Life.
Right.
And then she could hit you with The Real Love. She could hit you with Reminisce. She could hit you with, she got a catalog.
Yeah. Everything. Not Gonna Cry.
Yeah.
I Love You.
Yeah.
The first single off the 3rd album with Nas, Love Is All We Need.
Love Is All We Need is awesome. I was just listening to that yesterday. Yeah.
All That I Can Say.
Mm-hmm. I love All That I Can Say. Yeah.
Deep Inside. Yeah. Beautiful Ones. Sexy with Jada Kiss. Right, Mike, you want me to keep going?
She got a catalog.
Be Happy.
Yep.
Love Ain't Got No Limit.
Yeah.
I Want to Do Anything with KC. Right.
Yeah.
Right. No Beyonce don't want that smoke. No Mariah don't want that smoke.
I think you're right. Michael Williams at the super chat says,
I don't want that smoke.
WTF SMH brought a tear to my eye. The beat switch, the message, and why you ain't proud of Nas line is so deep. Jansport J produced the second half. He said Jansport J produced the second half. That's what's up.
Okay. There's some deep-rooted hatred going on. You get what I'm saying? Like there's something wrong with us that this man receives this level of hate and vitriol. You get what I'm saying?
I think there's something wrong with us, even the fact that whenever he does anything good, Jay-Z's name just gets brought in. Like, people act like Jay-Z put out an album this year or something. That would be fair.
Jay-Z put out an album the last 5 years.
Right.
People act like he's made a good album in the last 10.
And even if people like 444 like that was 5 years ago, guys. If we want to put this in context, we got 4 albums, right?
Like we call Kendrick out? One album every 10 years, nigga, I can divide.
Right. Because over the same time frame, forget the same time frame, 4 albums in 2.5 years. How long has it been since Jay put out 4 albums? We would have to go 444, and I ain't talking about the group album with him and Beyonce. 444, Magna Carta, yeah, Holy Grail. Then you go back to Blueprint 3, and then you go back to American Gangster. So 4 albums for Jay, that's 2007. So we're talking about 15 years. Versus 2.5 years, and we're acting like this is the same thing. It's not. It's not.
Even if you inserted the Beyonce project and the Ye project, that's still 6 and 15, Mike. Think about it. It's still 6 and 15.
It just is what it is. You want to see what the album of the year nominees were?
I got a hot take. I missed it. Hold on. I think my guy Andrew just texted me.
You got a hot take. Okay.
Oh. He said Mary J versus Janet is the verses. I think he's right. Mary J versus Janet. That's a fight, Mike. There we go. That's a fight. Shout out to Andrew. First of all, this is why knowing good music doesn't know a color. He's right.
Give me Janet in that one. I'll say that confidently.
I'd probably take Janet too, but don't give me Mariah. If you take Mariah or Beyonce and I take Mary, you about to have a long night.
But the fact that,
have a very long night. Long night.
But the fact that it's thought that Janet is Mary's matchup is saying a lot of high marks on Mary's end. I would say that.
But he's right. Musically, who else is fucking with Mary? Except for Janet.
It's very tough. It's very tough.
Think about it. We didn't even bring up the Dr. Dre joint, the Family Affair joint, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, she got... You don't
we didn't
want
even
that?
bring up the Brian Michael Cox records.
Mike, you don't want that smoke, Mike. You don't...
Okay, so you got Pusha P.
I'm gonna get off of here and like 5 of Beyonce's fans gonna be on my Twitter like, nigga, don't you ever. We know where you live, Coop, because that's how Beyonce's fans roll.
They ride. And let's just be perfectly honest. This Beyonce album, I love Beyonce. She's one of our icons. I think the best performer of her era. This album doesn't deserve 9 nominations, man. It just doesn't.
Mike, nobody even talks on the talk.
Ain't nobody talking about this album. Are people even asking for a tour? This is Beyonce, man. Like, this is my thing, man. And I was talking with one of my guys about this earlier. When we look back on it in history, these 9 nominations are going to credentialize this album and kind of give us a false sense of where the album really was. Michael Jackson's Invincible had Rock My World, had Butterflies on it. And they
Break
of Dawn. They considered that a drop-off or whatever. But did they even nominate Michael for anything on Invincible?
Invincible?
I don't think so.
How about this?
9?
If Invincible were to come out today, Mike, people would call it a classic.
This album is nowhere near Invincible. I'm just going to say that.
There's
9 nominations.
Heaven Can Wait on that motherfucker. Now is there? Break of Dawn, Mike. Yeah. I still play those records. Like to this day, I play Break of Dawn.
Yeah.
And Butterflies and Heaven Can Wait and Rock. Those are beautiful records.
Yeah.
That's the last MJ run to me. I was like, that's my guy right there. I was like, that's that dude. You still cannot fuck with that guy when he's on. Beyonce ain't got no shit like that, Mike.
Nah, her album, I mean, I say this respectfully.
Like, respectfully.
I would say this. I would say
maybe
3 nominations or whatever. I could see that. But
where's
9? 9?
Where's the Butterflies record at? Like, where's that record where it's like, that shit is beautiful?
The only song on that album that's kind of catching is that Cuff It. And that's because, they kind of have some manufactured challenges going around on that. And I'm just being real. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or nothing like that. But, I mean, Michelle Obama posted out the first single and all of that stuff, and it still didn't really catch. I mean...
It's bad when the Obamas get behind your ass and it don't move in the black community.
That's kind of been...
In case of emergency, calling Obama.
I mean, that's kind of been happening for politicians all across the nation. But, that's a whole other discussion.
No. It's not attached to him. It's attached to somebody else. It's very problematic how it's unfolding.
That used to be an automatic win whenever he came out.
I don't belong to anybody. I really don't give a fuck no more. All right?
That used to be an automatic win whenever he came out. They don't do that anymore.
Get like me. You can be independent. Black people don't belong to the Democratic Party. Democratic Party loves you about as much as the Republican Party does. All these motherfuckers, sorry. Independent.
Let's go to that best rap album, though. Here's the category for that. So the Grammys nominated DJ Khaled, God Did. Then you got Future, I Never Liked You. Then you got Jack Harlow, Come Home, The Kids Miss You. Then you got Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar. You got It's Almost Dry, Pusha T. Now, I think that here on this podcast, we would probably say Pusha T should be the one to win that one, but...
What's the only good album on there, Mike?
He's not going to win. I love Pusha T, and see, this is the thing, and I know he's very proud of his nomination, as he should be, but you have a hardcore rap album, which is, out of all of those, by far the best one there, but it doesn't fit with the mainstream narrative like the other nominees do. I just don't see it winning. Now, if they shock me with anything, it would be Pusha T winning that. And I hope that happens, but I don't
I
see
do
that
too.
happening. I think Kendrick's going to win that. Who do you think's going to win that? Think they're going to give it to Harlow?
I don't know. It's just the taste in my mouth, right? It's all the mid. It's all the mid. And I just want to wash it clean and just like forget to even put all these albums out. These are our album of the year candidates. Like Mike, I want you to understand the only album on that you just named that's even making our top 20 list is Pusha Shit. And Pusha Shit not making our top 5 at this rate.
Mr.
'Cause that
Morale's
shit
not
ain't
making the top 20?
Huh?
Mr. Morale's not making the top 20?
KD-3. Sold separately.
Mm-hmm.
Till It's Almost Dry. No One Mourns the Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Food for Thought. Hitler Wears Hermes 10. The Liz 2. No Fear of Time. Cheat Code.
Ghetto
keep going?
Gods. Ghetto
Feel
Gods.
what I'm saying? No, the fuck it's not. 'Cause
Ghetto
it's not
Gods.
good.
You got
It's not good.
Ghetto Gods, JID's album.
God Don't Make Mistakes. Tana Talk 4.
Huh.
Want me to keep going? No, it's not. No, that fucking mid ain't making no top 20. So I don't care if the nigga walk out with 8 Grammys. Around here, the nigga ain't walking out with shit because the album ain't good. And unlike the Grammys, this is real hip hop. So tell that nigga whenever he wants to pull back up with his real constituency and get off these sorry niggas' dicks and get back to making rap music.
Well, what stood out to me was the fact that Jack Harlow's Come Home, The Kids Miss You.
Tired of this corny shit, Mike. I'm so tired of this corny shit. And niggas playing like the corny shit is good. This shit corny. It ain't good.
Well, with the Jack Harlow album, right?
That shit definitely corny and not good.
Nobody has said it's good. It didn't get good reviews. It actually streamed, the numbers, like the number projections actually were 100,000 less than what was projected. So the actual first week sales ended up being 100,000 less than what was projected. Terrible reviews. The people online really ain't rocking with it. And it's like, how is this even nominated? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being real. It's like, no one's saying that this is good. No one's saying that this is a good rap album. And I think anybody who might be saying glowing things about it as an album aren't saying it in a rap tense. No one is saying that this is a good album.
Let me ask you a real question, Mike. You remember the Wiz and Dizza full court press?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that more than Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers?
I did, personally. But I can't. It's hard for me to say that it's better. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, I have to admit, Father Time made me cry the first 3 times that I listened to it. No other rap song / album does that to me. For me, that album is way more than beats and rhymes. That's fair.
What song you talking about?
Father Time.
What song is that?
You know come on, man. Come on. You know what Father Time is. The record that's about, his father and, what I'm saying, and spending time with his father and what he wants to be for his kids and all of that. It's like right before the record where he's going back and forth with his chick.
Okay, sorry. It's been a long time since I listened to that, man, because it's not good.
Say what the super chat says. I think Nas...
So I don't know. I don't listen to shit that's not good.
Say says, I think Nas needs a Black Thought Flex moment just to remind the peons who Nas is. Tired of being humble. And he needs to shoot the legit vid. Yeah, I would like to see a legit video. I don't think you're ever really going to get Nas to go out there and freestyle. He never really was, big on doing that, even like in the younger parts of his career.
No, Mike, he used to make the rounds sharper than termite teeth.
I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. I hope he does it. Jay Short with the super chat says that Nas and Mary toured together. Do you think Nas and Mary or any other R&B artist can make a successful collaborative album?
Egos usually keep that from happening, so I'm going to say no. Every time male groups get together and try to do it, like LSG, remember when Tyrese and Genuine and Tanka got together? It never works. It's just egos. Niggas is used to being solo. It's nothing personal. It's just,
Well, it's hard for solo artists to jump into a group setting. It just is.
LeBron and D Wade. It took them a year to figure it out.
Yeah,
And they're top 25 players, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you can have the best talent, but when one nigga used to run in the show, and think about it, they brought in three guys. They brought in two guys. All three of the guys is used to running the show. That takes time.
yeah.
You got to be patient. Respect the process.
Our legacy with Super Chat says, love what you guys do. You not only report on the culture, you are hip hop culture. Introspective thoughts, thought-provoking lyrics is why I love Pop and Nas. And this Nas album did not disappoint. Appreciate the love, and definitely, I agree with that.
He's closer to Pac in the comparisons and in the comparative notes than he is to Big and J. Nas gets compared to Big and J because that's Brooklyn and Queens. His comp is Pac more than J.
I noticed that J. Cole's more. I mean, they've been saying this since the beginning, but J. Cole's very Nas-like.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Straight off the tree.
Yeah. Michael Williams with the super chat says, I love how Nas laughs at the start of Michael and Quincy after rehearsing the first line. He laughs because he knows that he's about to do it absurd. Yeah, what he's about to do is absurd. Yeah, I think
Shimon.
I would like to see a video for that too.
That'd be pretty action-packed. Yeah, I just like the way that he used all the mic references at the end, but he didn't force it. Like it came naturally. Like, you could tell he pieced it together naturally. I'm like, yeah.
Lex Diesel says, no black person should be checking for the Grammys at this point. They've been a joke, and the Nas shade is blatant. Nas just performed on their show, too. And so the fact that Magic gets no consideration for anything, I think is a little weird. And I know Magic has its own tone and its own sound, but is it far-fetched to say Magic should be nominated for Rap Album of the Year over the Jack Harlow album or the DJ Khaled album? I mean, the man just performed at your award show just a couple months ago.
I mean, and it's Magic,
No, I mean, like, outside of that, let's just go on the political spectrum. He's not.
We're thinking about the music too. That's what I'm saying.
I understand. I mean, we know this industry is about television.
No, I get where you're going with it. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, if we take all of that out of it, because people will say, "Yo, we just being Nas stands or whatever," but the man just performed at your show.
Mm-hmm. You just gave him a Grammy too.
Yeah, you just gave him a Grammy last year, and so he performs and does a whole medley at your award ceremony.
Right.
You don't think that Magic should be in the category over the Jack Harlow album at least?
Okay, so
or you know what? Let's keep Jack. The DJ Khaled album.
No, I got plug talk for you again, Mike. Since you want to ask, the Grammys hit Nas back with some bullshit talking about Magic dropped too late because it was December, even though it was before the cutoff time. They be with that bullshit. They be on that bullshit. Right. They knew what they was doing. And, Mike, I want to say something, too. You were a little 50-50 about the Grammy performance because you were worried that the Grammys were using Nas to give them some credibility that they had lost.
And people trashed me for saying that, too.
Trashed you, but now here we are. Is there any KD-2 nominations? Any Magic nominations?
Exactly. That's exactly where I was coming from.
And that's exactly what you were talking about. You were talking about, are they going to continue to support this man and back him while he's giving them credibility in a time where they needed the credibility the most?
Exactly.
And they did the shit that you thought that they was going to do that made you concerned. So kudos to you for calling this out. What was that, earlier this year? Last year, Mike, that you did that? Is that last? I feel like that was
earlier this year because I think it was around March when they had the ceremony. And that's why I didn't, and people thought that my perspective on that was coming from the fact that I felt like Nas should be supporting the boycott that, I guess Ye was kind of boycotting. I forgot why. But no, that's not where I was coming from. I just felt like, because Kanye was supposed to be on that stage, and I forgot what happened where that didn't happen anymore, but I felt like they were using Nas in that situation, and I didn't like the way that looked, and I didn't think he was going to be appreciated for it, and here we are. Like, Magic nor KD2. He said Magic didn't hit the cutoff, but what about KD2? And so, yeah, it's hard for me to fathom that anybody feels like Jack Harlow's album deserves to be in this category.
Or the Khaled album. The Khaled album's not any good either, Mike.
Yeah, the Khaled album ain't really do nothing, man. It's just honestly, man, the Khaled album.
And Khaled might be Agent Zero, He might be where all the agents get all their agent paperwork from. It's like you come in, you do a verse with Khaled, we give you your agent paperwork. You belong to the game now and not the streets anymore.
I've said this on this show before. I have no idea how and why these Khaled albums are even able to come together in the way that they do.
I want to see check stubs from where Khaled has paid people, because he sure has paid. Like, he's got to be spending a ton of money to pay these artists their work.
I don't understand.
I want to see some pay stubs.
Not even just the artists.
Paying artists to do this stuff. Like, because this many niggas can't love Khaled. It's like, what is he paying?
Not even just that, cool. Not even just that. It'd be like
a Nas and a J verse should tap your budget out damn near.
It's high price samples and everything.
It's very
big time producers. It's like
it's a paperwork episode, Mike. I'd like to see the paperwork on Khaled's albums.
What's the budget for an album like this, and how does an album like this even make that back on any level? You know what I mean?
Who getting paid, Mike? Who getting paid? I want to know.
I don't understand. I really don't understand.
Mike, how much is...
The only thing I've deduced...
I got the keys. How much did Future make for I Got the Keys? I want Future to post a check out how much Khaled paid him for I Got the Keys with Jay.
The only thing that I can deduce... I
want to see some paperwork, Mike. I want to see paperwork on everybody. Now I want paper trails. I want documentation. It's a lot of agent shit going on. A lot of niggas faking and flogging in the game today.
The only thing that I can deduce a Khaled project to is the fact that maybe the major labels use Khaled as a project to keep certain artists hot without them having to drop an album. Now,
the artists
that paid? Did work with God did it not?
Is the artist getting paid?
Huh?
The artist getting paid?
I don't think so. I would venture to say I don't think the artists get paid to be on a Khaled album.
That all sounds like agent work to me.
It's really weird, right? Godfather with a super chat says, "Yo, Nas gets Nas get 9 albums on iTunes. Yo, Nas get 9 albums on. I guess he said he got 9 albums on iTunes. Shoot, we about to roll out of here, man. This has been a great show, though. Intelligence is scary. Says Guru or Hit Boy, fellas. What do you mean? Hold on. Guru or Hit Boy?
Both.
I don't understand the question. Frank Wizard with the super chat says, Cole's from the Nas tree. He let Nas down, not Jay. Blue Collar Hustler says...
People were talking about a classic album with no help. Forest Hill Drive, 2014, J. Cole.
There you go. Blue Collar Hustler says, Hit Boy said that Magic wasn't submitted. Okay. But this is the thing, man. Submitted or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all know what the landscape is like out here. And, I would be remiss if I didn't speak on this before we leave. The Grammys intentionally zeroed Nicki out. She got no nominations. She was breaking up a big fuss about the fact they were trying to put her Super Freaky Girl song in the pop category and not the rap category. And they just didn't nominate her at all.
What they said, I gave you power, I made you buck wild. That's what they said. I gave you power, I made you buck wild.
I guess the thing is, man, like
me now.
At least, I'm glad she got that MTV moment because, Nicki's put in the work. She deserves it. But, he's talking about Jay's producer, Guru. Guru's his engineer, so I'm definitely going to say Hit Boy. I thought he was talking about Gangstar Guru or something.
It's the only Guru I really know, Mike. I don't know the rapper.
Yeah, but I hate to say it like this, from a mainstream standpoint, I think Nicki just needs to pivot if she wants to continue to make music and make music for her fans. Pivot and just make music for your core that rocks with you. Like, the mainstream is, for lack of a better term, they have moved on from Nicki Minaj, unfortunately. And whether right or wrong, it's just the reality. And I think that, not to say that she can't make music, because I think she can. She's great. You know, she's held it down for the past 10, 15 years on the mainstream level for women in rap, but she's got to pivot and do something different. And that different isn't going to be mainstream stuff because the mainstream seems to be officially out of the Nicki Minaj business. That's what I got from that. Hassan Sykes with the super chat says Jay is trying to be current. Is I got the keys. Nas is being current with 40 side and reminisce. Right. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, guys, Nas was nominated for KD-2 when he performed at the Grammys. Okay. Was that okay? That makes sense.
Oh, you're right. Well, I think we did talk about that.
KD-2 did get nominated. So KD-2 was nominated, and Magic wasn't nominated because it wasn't submitted. Okay.
But here's the thing about it. KD-3 is not eligible for, this run, but is available for the next run, though.
Right. It should be. If it's submitted, right?
Right. We'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, we got to get up out of here, man. It's been a great Wednesday show. We appreciate everybody's participation. I don't know what's really coming this Friday, but I'm sure we'll have something to talk about.
I know Conway is supposed to be coming soon because he talked about having the Nas feature, so I'm expecting to hear his album before the year is over. But, Mike, after this, officially probably going into yearbook mode because it is time.
It is time.
Mike, I got a couple things for the people before we go.
Okay.
I know those of you all who follow us know that, we do the top fives. I would like people to drop in the chat before we go what you think are some of the next top fives we could do or should do because we're going to record this weekend. Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. This weekend we're going to record some top fives. I'd like to hear from the people what top fives you would like us to do. Mike and Ron, our video guy, and I usually come up with the list, but this is for the people and by the people, like we always said. And so I just want to open up the floor a little bit if y'all want to drop in the comments to see what we should do. I think some of what we thought about is probably going to be in line, and if it matches up, we will. But just want y'all's feedback and involvement in it, you know what I'm saying, like always. And appreciate y'all for all the support and the love that y'all been giving us.
10,000 and beyond.
Mike, what are we doing on Patreon?
The next thing.
Are we doing the Pete Rock
I think we should. Yeah.
Eric Sermon thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man says they blackballed Nicki after she went at Miley at MTV. I thought that was fake. Was that real? Okay. All right. Well, before we get out of here, man, go check out Sorcerer.z. He got their Nas tribute out there. And like I said, we got it in the community section. He's really showing love. It's crazy to see all these MCs really giving Nas that love for the KD-3. The impact is what it is. I really don't care what the first week sales say on my end. I know his team does, but the impact is what it is, and you can't duplicate that. Can't manufacture that.
No, you can't. You know what the Grammys really just told Nicki? Don't be Eddie King trying to sing your way back in the group.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll take a positive from this because I think Nicki does have abilities, right? What Nicki needs to do is, and what she's been doing for too long is pandering or catering to an audience that really doesn't care about her like that. She needs to get back to the core. If you want to keep making some music, get back to the core, and you can make some music. We're going to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? If you making stuff that connects, it connects. But as far as like you making the radio music, they done moved on to Lotto, and and a few others. I mean, it is what it is.
Where's she from? Right.
Yeah. All right, we're getting out of here, man. Appreciate y'all.
I'll make some playlists, y'all, too. I'm gonna make some playlists on Spotify. I'm working on it. I've been wall to wall with. I ain't slept in about 3 weeks.
Are you jumping on Station Head at any point, or we can just
tonight?
At any point, like before Friday's show.
I'm gonna give you a heads up and map it out. I haven't even mapped that out yet. I might. If I do, it's probably gonna be a pull up tomorrow night.
We'll tweet it out. Follow us on Twitter too. You know what I'm saying? A2HH the game on Twitter, and you'll be updated on everything that we doing. We're gonna holler at y'all. Great shit.
Right.